Less than 9 weeks to the midterms.
All 50 members of the Senate on my side of the aisle are doing everything they can to find a way to help get to 51. And that's exactly what the other side's doing.
But for the next several weeks, they'll be trying to reach agreement on a short-term spending bill to avoid a government shutdown at the end of this month. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer hoping to fund the government into mid-December while also working on a longer-term package. He's also expressing faith in Attorney General Merrick Garland and the intelligence community after the raid on the former president's home in Florida. A Trump lawyer condemning ongoing leaks about documents seized and saying public confidence has been damaged. A young sheriff's deputy is now a murder suspect, surrendering to face charges in a double homicide.
24-year-old Alameda County Sheriff's Office Deputy Devin Williams Jr. turning himself in, accused of fatally shooting a married couple in their home while off duty.
This is a tragedy. We're in shock here.
Lieutenant Ray Kelly says Williams, who initially fled, later called to surrender.
This is a homicide investigation. The fact that it's a law enforcement deputy sheriff employed by our agency is a factor.
Explaining they're working with the local district attorney and will bring in another agency if there's any conflict of interest.
Fox's Kristen Goodwin. Investigators in California say they're still searching for the deputy's gun and that a relative of the couple who was at the scene is a key witness. The suspect in the kidnap and killing of a Memphis mom is due back in court for a third day tomorrow. His arraignment on murder charges delayed today by a defense motion to change his attorney, but the judge did revoke the bond that had been set yesterday. America is listening to Fox News.
Every search you make, every click you take, they'll be watching you.
Are you tired of being tracked online? There's a simple solution. DuckDuckGo. It's an all-in-one privacy app with a built-in private search engine, web browser, one-click data clearing, email protection, and more, all for free. Download the app today and get the most comprehensive privacy protection with the push of a button. DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
From the very beginning, and every workday since, at every shift and every individual effort, we carry a common purpose, a common cause. It's a duty we proudly honor, knowing behind every product we build is your faith in us, dedicated to the craft of gun making, dedicated to your freedom, equality, security, and the promise of this great country. Smith & Wesson, empowering Americans. Learn more at smith-wesson.com.
A retiring Republican senator is now backing Dr. Mehmet Oz in the race to replace him.
Senator Pat Toomey joined Dr. Oz on the campaign trail, calling Dr. Oz the right person to take his seat in the Senate.
Dr. Oz is a great American story. He's the son of immigrants, became a world-renowned surgeon.
Dr. Oz has run as a supporter of President Trump and has his backing, while Toomey voted to impeach Trump after the January 6th riot at the Capitol.
Fox's Ryan Schmelz. Toomey accuses Democratic candidate, Pennsylvania Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman, of being too far left, also calling on him to debate Oz. Fetterman's campaign says he's healthy enough to serve in the Senate, but still recovering from a stroke. Apple is holding the line on new iPhone prices despite rising costs for many components. The company unveiling the lineup that hits stores this month with better cameras, faster processors, and longer battery life. The iPhone 14 is also capable of using satellites to send emergency messages. The upcoming CMA Awards could be a big night for a newcomer.
Lainey Wilson leads this year's Country Music Association Awards with 6 nominations. This makes Wilson only the 4th country artist in history to earn 6 nominations in their first year on the ballot. Ashley McBride, Carly Pearce, Chris Stapleton, and hit songwriter Shane McAnally grabbed 5 nominations apiece, while Miranda Lambert's 2021 effort, Palomino, helped her snag 3 nominations, including Album of the Year, Female Vocalist of the Year, and the coveted Entertainer of the Year. She will go up against Luke Combs, Chris Stapleton, Carrie Underwood, and Morgan Wallen, who's nominated in the category for the first time in his career.
Fox's Michelle Polino, the nomination part of a comeback for Wallen after a video of him using a racial slur derailed his career last year. Wall Street bounces back, the Dow finishing up about 436, the S&P up more than 1%, the NASDAQ more than 2%, as oil prices hit a 7-month low. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News.
Hello again, everyone. Let's check weather for East Central Illinois, Champaign-Urbana, and vicinity. Nice spell of weather ahead for the remainder of the work week and into the upcoming weekend as well, at least the start of which. And we've eased back on any mention of shower activity till perhaps late in the ball game on football Saturday, kickoff 3 o'clock in the afternoon. In any event, so what weather ahead over the weekend and into early next weekend, a decidedly cooler spell of weather, a little hint of early autumn in the air before milder to warmer and drier weather takes hold later next week. Otherwise, some patchy fog in spots early on this morning, becoming partly sunny, 79 this afternoon, light northeast to north wind. Fair tonight, patchy fog after midnight down to 57. Some patchy fog early on tomorrow, mostly sunny, tad warmer at 81. A partly cloudy, warm, dry Friday up to 83. Clouds increase for the day on Saturday, a shower chance towards evening time, and a high up to 82. Some shower activity for Sunday and Monday, and a couple of sprinkles Tuesday, and a cool down in temperatures, daytime readings in the low to mid 70s. For Stevie J Broadcasting, I'm meteorologist Greg Solier.
Ignition sequence start. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Liftoff.
Check. I literally just create madness.
Well, they're up.
I'm going to go off here.
They don't have a great quarterback.
I got to take a break. I'm getting in trouble.
To win the Big Ten, you first got to win the West.
Bad Bunny. Have you heard his name in a while?
No.
Has it bothered you?
No. Defensively, they got to come in with some confidence.
Is that even analytics?
I'm in a parking garage, kind of lost.
Terrence Shannon, Matthew Meyer, R.J. Melendez, Coleman Hawkins.
These trophy presentations aren't over.
I didn't come here to go 5-7.
I'm so proud of Illinois football right now.
I'm so tired of Joel Embiid.
We're not taking Patrick Corbin.
I want to bet the Bears.
Oh.
You are Reba McEntire's niece.
Roshan Russell.
Coach Bielma.
You no longer salute to yourself.
What? We got all kinds of things for you here.
There's a lot of glass.
Oh.
Guys, we have breaking news.
Uh-oh.
It's The Drive.
Smack Dogs. And good morning, everyone. It is The Drive, ESPN Radio 93.5, The Drive with Tay and Piper. I'm Lon Tay. Derek Piper is to my left, but almost at the 10 o'clock dial. That's... I think you're
I don't
offsides.
throw off the entire show by moving over to a new computer, but we'll see.
I think you've jumped off sides already, if we look at the review. So Pipes is here, and we're going to talk a lot of NFL today as the National Football League begins its season tomorrow night with a great one, Buffalo and the Rams. That one is in L.A., I believe, is what you told me yesterday. So we are going to talk a lot of NFL. We've got Aaron Lemming. Of course, he's our buddy that covers the Bears. We thought we would, before they stink, we thought we'd talk about. I'm kidding. I actually had a buddy.
Here's the spoiler to that. They already stink.
Oh, okay. Well, I had a buddy come in and he goes, look, I think the Bears are going to be halfway solid. And I'm like, really? And he's like, well, Fields. And then he's like, I know it was the preseason. I'm like, stop. And I said, I think Justin Fields, look, I was down on him a month ago. What I've seen so far in preseason, I've liked what I've seen. I do think he's going to have a pretty good year, but I just think he would have to be unworldly for the Bears to do any kind of damage this season. But we'll talk to Aaron Lemming about that and get his thoughts not only on that, but also the NFC North. So we'll do a lot of NFL today. You're also going to hear from Bart Miller, the Illinois offensive line coach, as Illinois has just torn it up, especially Chase Brown, 2 weeks in a row going into a game against Virginia this coming Saturday where they just gave up, I believe it was 149 yards against Richmond. So I would assume Illinois is sitting there licking their chops, especially Chase Brown thinking, hey, I can put up another 200 and we'll see where it goes from there. So we'll do
even more than that. It was 170.
Oh, it was 170. Okay, well then that fell, but ironically it looks even better with Derek Piper now on YouTube.
Oh, it's just me now.
It is, and it looks good. I'll be honest with you. So it was 170 to Richmond. Okay, so I'm guessing Illinois is going to feast on that. And then, of course, Virginia ran the ball well, but they have basically a new offensive line of newcomers. So we can touch on Illinois, Virginia as we go along. I want to start real quick. We won't spend much time on it, so those baseball fans that aren't Cardinals fans, you don't have to yell. The Cardinals win again. They win again 4-1. It was just kind of one of those ho-hum. Quintana threw well. Nolan Gorman with an RBI double, also a solo home run. What's his name? Goodness. Billy. No.
Brendan Donovan?
Brendan. I always say Billy Donovan.
Billy Donovan.
Brendan Donovan also had a solo home run for the Cardinals. They win 4-1. Pujols got an at-bat. He flew out to left center, halfway deep. Helsley the save. He made it a little bit interesting, too interesting for me. But Cardinals get it done, and it, Pipes, that was one of those games last night where they just kind of, after, coming back from a 6-0 loss the day before, I felt like they just kind of did the job. They just went out, proved they're the better team, and just won a game. And that's what you got to do down the stretch.
It is one of those ho-hum victories. You're facing a Nationals team that is now 40 games under 500. It's been pretty brutal for them, and we've talked a ton about this favorable stretch before it gets tough going into mid to late September for the Cardinals, where you've had the Cubs series, which you swept. You took advantage of facing a bad Cubs team now, and then you got the Nationals and then the Pirates this weekend. So this is a chance to make hay, and we can also talk about the Brewers not making that push, and the gap just continues to grow even further for the division. You feel like you have a pretty comfortable lead at this point, and I heard someone in the postgame, I was listening to a little bit of Ollie Marmol after last night's game, someone asked him, what have you been able to do to make sure that one loss doesn't turn into two? Because they threw out a stat that I hadn't heard. The Cardinals, if this reporter was right, haven't lost back-to-back games since in like 6 weeks.
Oh, my gosh. I mean, that seems
and Ollie's like, I don't know. We try to win every game. I didn't know that was a thing.
We try not to focus on what to do after a loss. I mean, we're just hoping we don't lose in general. Cardinals have been on fire. I mean, they have been on fire. I still think they have the fourth best record in the National League, though. I think it's L.A., and then it's the Mets, and then it's Atlanta, I believe, and then the Cardinals. But the good news is you'll get the 3 seed for winning your division. So Atlanta will actually be the 4, and they'll play, I think if it's set up now, with Philly maybe, for the 4-5 to then play the 2, which would be the Mets, and then the Cardinals at 3 would host the 6, which right now is the Padres, and you would host them a best-of-3 and at Busch Stadium, and the winner of that would get the Dodgers in L.A. for a best-of-7, I believe. So that's kind of how it sets up. It's new this year, so we'll kind of see what we think of it and how we like it.
And for much as we have griped as Cardinals fans, I've done so more than you, about needing to be in a position to where you have a belief they can go deep in the postseason. It's been a while since you've won a playoff series. I've beat that drum enough over the last couple of months. But to their credit, this has been a franchise that has gotten hot down the stretch the last couple of years. I think back to the last time they were in that division series and made it to the NLCS, they appeared. They didn't win a game, but I think they had a blistering August that year under Shelton, even last year when they won a bunch of games in September, went on 17, 18 game winning streak, and they had a spectacular August and then are spilling it over now into September. They'll really get tested down the stretch here, as we already mentioned, but this is, again, a team that is trending in a good direction, on pace to win over 90 games, and it's fun to be a Cardinals fan right now.
It's amazing. Steven Matz pitched last night, I think, in the minors, so he's kind of getting healthy, not for a starting role, but, of course, Jack Flaherty, he threw and, didn't get the win, didn't get the loss, threw well. Only gave up, I believe, 1 run in his appearance. So, I mean, Flaherty looked good. The rest of the team was thinking that he looks like, the Flaherty of old.
And I didn't see it. Maybe you did. Did he touch 97 with the fastball?
I don't understand what was going on. Obviously, the shoulder's better. Because, I've where you've beat the drum of they haven't won many series, I've beat the drum about Jack Flaherty and how he's bugging me. And all of a sudden, earlier this season, he was topping out at 92. And I'm like, man, that's not the stuff of an ace unless you've got some amazing off speed or you've got something else like Waino with that huge curve he's got. But all of a sudden, Flaherty was touching 96, 97. The slider was biting. So, I mean, he looked fresh. Now, he should be.
Right? Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
But he definitely looked fresh, and we'll see what happens there. Of course, they optioned Dakota Hudson down to AAA. He will come up a little bit later this month for a doubleheader that they already have set on a Saturday, I believe, against the Reds down the line. So Dakota's already kind of pointing towards that to where he'll start one of those games. But certainly, I mean, all of a sudden you got all hands on deck all of a sudden for the Cardinals. I think they mentioned the other day 11 rookies have contributed this season to the Cardinals. And I thought it was funny. I was talking to Mom last night, and she's like, well, how many pitchers do they carry on a team? I'm like, well, the funny part is they usually only do 12 or 13. I think this year maybe they've got another roster spot, it seems like, or you get one, I guess, when you play a doubleheader. But it's one of those where I'm like, well, the problem, they just keep shifting them back and forth from AAA Memphis up to St. Louis, and it just appears like you have 30 pitchers, but you can only keep so many on the roster because you got to keep enough guys to play the field. So we'll see. I mean, it's just one of those where you're getting so much contribution. Donovan's contributing. I mean, really, the guys that aren't right now are Dylan Carlson, who has really struggled, but I think Ollie Marmol's doing a good job of kind of keeping him kind of lower in the order. Now, last night I think he hit 5th, which was interesting.
He even pinch hit last night.
Oh, he pinch hit. Okay, that was my fault because I saw that late. And I saw him up, and it was in the 5th spot, so I was wondering if he had hit 5 all night. So, I mean, it's just one of those where Carlson has kind of lost his job for a bit.
Yes.
And unfortunately, that weakens your defense a little bit. With Tyler O'Neill in center, Tyler's good, but you'd rather have him in left field. You'd rather have Dylan Carlson at center. So hopefully Dylan will start to get his mojo back down the stretch. He's got a little bit of time.
You wonder how he approaches this, where he's lost some at-bats, lost some starting opportunities, whether it's kind of a refresh for him, maybe take some of the pressure off, or then if you're out of the mix now where Dickerson's in the lineup a lot more, O'Neill has shown that, I mean, he's still hitting only 228, but has flashed the power, and you're hoping that if he can just hit the occasional home run and be a guy that can drive in some runs, you'll deal with some of that average that's not necessarily there. But Carlson's really struggled since he had that one game right after the trade deadline. It was like, all right, you guys...
He answered
you
the
all
critics.
Fans. Mosaic didn't want to trade me. You guys did, and here I am. I'm going to be a star. Well, we don't have to do that soapbox. I don't think he's going to be a star.
Tim on the U of I Atlantic Link text line said Carlson went on the IL. They're bringing up Alec Burleson. So okay. I haven't had a chance this afternoon to kind of look at any of the news. So, all right, so if that's the case, then they're going to try to get him rested up or something's nagging him. And you never know. Could be could be a shoulder, could be whatever. But
one thing worth mentioning, the back end of that bullpen. I don't know if you saw Ryan Helsley's new entrance.
I didn't see it. I heard about it. Like so a bunch of lights and stuff.
It was turn off the lights and then some red, like strobe lights. Turn off the regular lights.
Oh, boy.
And play Hell's Bells.
Was it really?
Which makes sense with Helsley, Hell's Bells. The only problem is you got Padres fans complaining that you're ripping that directly off of Trevor Hoffman.
There's a lot of songs.
There are. I mean, there's a lot of songs to choose from. At the same time, with his name, it makes sense. Now every closer needs something, apparently. Now that Diaz can't corner the market on just sick intros, now Helsley, I mean, when your ERA is under 1 and you've been as good as he has, I'm not saying it's not well-deserved.
Right. I get what you're saying. It's just it's been used. By the way, did you see your trumpet guy was actually live?
I did see that.
In New York, that the one night playing the trumpet. That was cool, man. That I could get used to every night, hearing him coming in. The problem is if the Cardinals end up facing the Mets, I'm not going to want to hear it.
You're going to hate that song.
I'm going to hate that song as we go along. All right, so Cardinals, again, they play tonight. I think it's Montgomery on the mound.
It is.
Jordan Montgomery for the Cardinals tonight as they continue their hot stretch down the stretch, their hot streak down the stretch here in baseball. Illinois, Virginia, on a real quick to hit on that before we go along. A big test for Illinois this weekend. Of course, Brennan Armstrong is the guy. I know you were all about him last year leading into the Virginia game. He's the talented lefty, the southpaw quarterback for Virginia. And I know that the media had asked Brett Bielema and the crew, how do you prepare for him? Is there anybody that can actually that's left-handed, essentially? They don't have a quarterback on the roster that's left-handed. So he said, no, we won't do that, but we may run some drills where we have someone on the team that's left-handed, maybe not a quarterback, even if it's like some, defensive back or whatever, just have him throw certain things at cornerbacks and linebackers so they can kind of see the spin of the ball, which I assume would be different. So it's just one of those where you're not really able to prepare that much for a left-handed quarterback in Brennan Armstrong, but you saw enough of him and what he was able to do to you last year, and that has got to give Ryan Walters some shakes going into this game, although I would assume the way Ryan Walters is and knowing what this defense has been like since that Virginia game last season, I'm guessing Ryan Walters is licking his chops, waiting to go up against Brennan Armstrong. I'm not saying he's going to get the best of him, but Ryan Walters is a competitor. He was the defensive back himself in Colorado. He has been out there. He knows it. He's wanting a revenge tour against Brennan Armstrong in this Virginia team. So we'll see what happens Saturday.
He embarrassed that Illinois defense last year. 400 yards, 5 touchdown passes. It looked like the defenses of old of Lovie Smith and just wide open receivers. And it was it was embarrassing, and you wondered if that, or you thought at the time that even though Ryan Walters was the new DC, that it was just going to be kind of the same old Illinois defense. It was probably going to be a pretty ugly season. But then, of course, that was afterwards the turning point for the defense, and now you get a chance where Brennan's lost some of his offensive line. He lost that huge studly tight end, Jelani Woods, who I think is on the Colts now in the NFL. So a little bit different circumstances. Now you know what to expect. Does the lefty thing matter that much? I'm sitting there wondering. I would be more worried about preparing for a mobile quarterback. See, Brennan ran for 105 yards and a touchdown, including a 64-yard sprint for a touchdown in Week 1 against Richmond. I'm more concerned about containing him, making sure he doesn't get outside of the pocket and everything than, whether or not Devin Witherspoon knows what it looks like coming from a lefty. I don't know. Maybe
I'm with you.
I don't know.
I mean, it mattered when you batted, right? When I hit against the side, I was left-handed. So it mattered when I faced a lefty, but I don't know in football if that is a big thing. I think I'm kind of with you on this. My question to you would be, if you're trying to basically contain him and keep him away from going out of the – I don't think Brennan Armstrong's taken off at the middle very often. I mean, I don't think Virginia would want him to, because eventually he's going to get stuck by a helmet by a linebacker, and that's not going to feel good. At least on the outside, he can kind of get around guys or get to the out-of-bounds line. My question to you would be, with Illinois not really presenting much of a pass rush, and obviously the only sack they have this season happened against Indiana with Newton getting that sack. My question, I guess, to you is, knowing that Brennan is going to have probably time to throw, would you rather just give him the time to throw and not rush, not blitz linebackers off the corners? Or would you rather keep the corners coming on blitzes, and if Brennan reads it right and he can take off running, then so be it, I guess, and you kind of lose that way. But, I mean, this is a veteran quarterback that's going to figure out what you're doing and at least keep Ryan Walters in that checkers mode of trying to figure out, okay, wait, he's doing this, now I got to do this. Maybe he won't figure this out. Hold on, he's figured that out. I don't know what I would do, because while we have a good secondary, it's not easy, as Jay Lehman said. Dion can't guard you for 3 seconds if there's no pass rush and the quarterback's just sitting down there. So I'm anxious to see what Ryan Walters dials up Saturday. What would you dial up? Would you continue to bring pressure, or would you just kind of sit back, make sure that he doesn't beat you with his legs, and just try to bring that in, bring the pass rush, I guess, from the interior?
It's a tough dilemma, because if you just let him sit back there and get comfortable, and for as much as you like your secondary with Witherspoon, Quan Martin, Sidney Brown, guys that have been tabbed as NFL potential talents, if you give them the task of then guarding receivers for 5, 6, 7 seconds, even for as good as they are, I mean, they're going to get open eventually. And then we saw it against Indiana. Ryan Walters was pretty aggressive, almost sometimes in the first half, where he got burned for a couple of his blitzes. He blitzed the corner, and then that led to a long pass where a safety was like, well, there's a guy coming over the middle, and there's a deep post going behind me. I got to pick one, and then he comes up on the cross, and they hit the deep post over the top. So you don't want to over blitz and get caught on an island. At the same time, I think ideally you want to disguise some things, make Brennan Armstrong think you're coming on one time, and then you back off, and all of a sudden he then has to adjust, and some of that time in processing what the defense is in gives you a chance to get back to the quarterback. One guy that I'll mention, and I didn't know this, we were talking to Jay yesterday, Calvin Hart didn't have a tackle against Indiana.
He didn't.
He wasn't in the box score. Didn't have one.
Nope.
And that was a guy Week 1 against Nebraska. Not only was he had the scoop and score that everybody remembers, and he was able to fly around, but he blitzed up the middle a few times in that game. I was like, whoa, Illinois can use that as part of a presser package. And I'm wondering where that is, or maybe that's something he can do against Brennan Armstrong. But also, when I see the highlight of his run against Richmond, it was a read option. So that makes you have to be disciplined. Not only we saw against Wyoming of just extending a play, but also, all right, we're going to show you run up the middle, but I can keep it and I can go outside, and Illinois is going to have to be ready for that.
I agree, 100%. Well, 3 o'clock, we're going to hear more we're going to talk more about Illinois and Virginia. We'll hear from Bart Miller, Illinois offensive line coach, coming up bottom of next hour. And, of course, more tomorrow. Brett Bielema meets again with the media, so we'll have some fresh Coach B tomorrow to let you listen to as we get ready for Virginia. We're efforting on a Virginia reporter as well to get you some information on the, what are they?
The Who's.
The Who's, yeah.
Well, the Cavaliers,
yeah,
I think it's technically, but
they like to go
the Who's.
The Who's. So we'll keep you up to speed on that.
You could even ask a basketball question. Because I think, obviously, ideally, you
that's
beat
right. We may face
UCLA in Las Vegas,
Yeah.
assuming that Baylor beats Virginia. If you're facing Virginia, you most likely lost your first game to UCLA.
And my guy.
Jaime Jaquez.
Yeah, Jaime Jaquez. Is he still there?
He's still there. Johnny Juzang left, but Jaime
Okay.
Jaquez is still there.
Jaime
But just in case, maybe Virginia pulls an upset against Baylor and Illinois beats UCLA and you got a matchup, but potential November pairing on the basketball side as well.
That's tasty. And Virginia's done really well, and they are boring. They don't score a lot, but they don't let you score a lot because they control the ball. Think Wisconsin, right? Think Wisconsin.
Wouldn't that be it? Like, we watched Wisconsin tape enough.
No.
We don't even need to watch Virginia to know what's coming.
We're good. We're good on that one. You ready to talk some NFL? I know.
You know the answer
That's
to that.
funny. I'm even asking you this. Now, one thing Game Day Spirit probably doesn't have a lot of is NFL merch or gear and stuff, but they got everything else, especially orange and blue. If you're looking for any Illini apparel, any Illini merchandise, and I'm talking anything, probably head covers for your golf clubs, golf polos, T-shirts. They've got buy one, get one T-shirts, hoodies, whatever you want. Jerseys. They've got it all. Yep. New shirt for your spouse, maybe. We talked about it yesterday with Jay Lehman, you and I. Guys, like, we wear the same T-shirt 10 years, and we wear it with pride. And sometimes we just need to be told, hey, probably go ahead and get a new one. GameDaySpirit.com. GameDaySpirit.com, 2 locations. Green and Neal, you know where to find them. Game Day Spirit, man, proud partner and a happy partner, and I'm happy they are. It is The Drive.
If you're a truck driver or know a truck driver, listen to this. Gale Frericks Trucking is looking for regional drivers who can also help with the harvest. Help with the harvest, drive in the Midwest, and always be home on weekends. Gale Frericks Trucking is hiring a regional driver who can help with the harvest and offers great pay and great benefits. Work for a local company who values your time and your family. Gale Frericks Trucking wants to talk to you. Just email Dixie at gftlog.com. That's Dixie at gftlog.com.
Long's Garage in Urbana and Jasper Engines and Transmissions offer cost-effective solutions to your present engine or transmissions trouble. Avoid a costly new car purchase or high lease payments by putting new life into your present vehicle. Let Long's Garage install a Jasper remanufactured engine or transmission with a 3-year, 100,000-mile nationwide warranty and available premium service plan. Call Long's Garage at 367-3942. Long's Garage, 217-367-3942.
When you make the right decision, it feels good, like picking the perfect accent rug or choosing a good night's sleep over an all-night crime show binge. It feels really good to make the right insurance decision, too. That's why State Farm agent Kurt Lenschow is right here in Champaign-Urbana to help you select the right protection at the right price. Kurt will make sure you understand your State Farm coverages so you'll know what to expect if the unexpected happens. Just call him when you want the real deal. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
If you want a steak, I mean a steak, prepared the way you want it, you've got to go to Long Branch Steakhouse. Hi, it's Jay Lehman. It's been over a year since I was introduced to Donnie at the Long Branch Steakhouse in Gifford. And when I want a great steak, that's where I go. And the sides, the Brussels sprouts, the mac and cheese, and the salad with Donnie's secret frog dressing. Long Branch Steakhouse in downtown Gifford. Open Wednesday through Saturday from 5 to 9 p.m. There's always room for the Long Branch Steakhouse.
This is Gina from ABC Heating and Air Conditioning. If you're looking for a top-of-the-line air conditioner, think Amana. We carry all sizes and offer expert installation. ABC Heating and Air Conditioning is locally owned, and we've been in business for 50 years. And for 50 years, the only brand we've sold is Amana. So go with a company that is local, dependable, and will be there for you no matter what time of day or night. ABC. Always be comfortable. Let us install your new Amana air conditioner. Visit www.abcheatingandac.com.
Thinking of selling your home? Today's market is crazy, but one way you can be sure to stand out is by replacing your old flooring with new hardwood. And the best place to do it is Carpet Weavers in Champaign. Carpet Weavers boast the industry's best brands, including Shaw, Mohawk, Paramount, and more. When it comes to natural beauty and a rich quality, nothing beats new flooring from Carpet Weavers. And they have financing options for your budget, so you can always afford the floor you truly want. Increase the value of your home by installing new, high-quality options from Carpet Weavers. Find out more online at carpetweaversflooring.com.
It's beginning to look a lot like fall in the Prairie Gardens greenhouses. The first mums are blooming now. They're loaded with beautiful fall color and now on sale. Find them in the PG greenhouses along with more fall garden favorites, ornamental peppers, asters, rudbeckia, and more. With PG plant experts always on hand to answer your garden questions. At Prairie Gardens, locally owned plant experts, extraordinary gardening, home decor, and more.
When you're buying a battery, it's important to look beyond just the price and make sure you're buying a quality battery. So when you're buying one from the big box store, make sure you ask the question, what's the date on this battery? Is it dependable? Sometimes the big box stores have batteries that have been sitting on the shelf for years. Or you can just come to Interstate Batteries, outrageously dependable, and buy your battery from the people who only do batteries. Interstate Batteries at 2504 North Madison Champaign, way out there, but totally worth the drive. How much is dependable worth to you? Interstate Batteries open 6 days a week.
Let's go Blues. On Friday, September 16th, the Cardinals host the Reds, and that night, 25,000 fans, 16 and older, will take home a Cardinals hockey sweater, courtesy of Bally Sports Midwest. Now you can look like the pros on the ice and on the field. That's Friday, September 16th. Celebrate the kickoff to hockey season at the ballpark. For tickets or more information, visit cardinals.com/promotions.
Hey, this is Ben from the Humble Hog in Paxton. If you're listening and you've never been to a true barbecue joint, you need to stop a minute and come check it out. It's all about the local meat. It's all about the preparation. So aside from the typical barbecue offerings of brisket and pulled pork, turkey, we also offer our own spin on a few non-traditional sandwiches. You can also find our fine products in some of Central Illinois' best grocery stores. Stop by and check us out. That's humblehogbbbq.com.
Hey, Illini fans, it's Mike Greenberg. Catch Lon Tay and Derek Piper weekdays from 4 to 6 right here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
Derek Piper, we're going to talk about BetUS.com here in a second because we're going to have all of their lines as we talk NFL. BetUS.com, that's how you find them. You can call them at 800-79-BETUS. And we want you to use the promo code 935. So whether you go online to betus.com or whether you call them, use promo code 935. You'll get a nice little extra when you sign up, little sign-up bonus. And certainly we would appreciate you using 935. betus.com. Been around since 94. Let's bet. Let's gamble. I told you I am... I've got things lined up with BetUS.com, and I'm ready to see what I can get accomplished in both college, but especially, you know, the thing that you want to talk about every day, and I certainly don't have a problem doing it. It is this. Pipes, tomorrow at this time, we will be gearing up for Game 1 between the Bills and Rams in L.A., the Super Bowl champion Rams, who somehow are able to sign 500 Pro Bowlers. They've done a wonderful job.
There's a lot of money in L.A.
I guess.
The Dodgers, the Rams.
I guess maybe there's not a cap for the Rams because I can't figure it out how they've done it, but certainly there is a way. I even Googled it. I'm like, how are the Rams signing all these people? And it's essentially that, you know, they've hit on their drafts. And they're able then to spend more money on guys like Stafford and
Aaron Donald.
Aaron Donald. Now they've got Allen Robinson in the fold, Cam Akers, Cooper Kupp. Excuse me. I mean, he's pretty good. I mean, they just have seems like star after star, and every year they're able to re-sign these guys or even extend them. And you know, kudos to the Rams and kudos to what they've been able to do, that management, in getting that team rolling to the Super Bowl and winning it. And now, of course, they start the season with a home game against those Buffalo Bills, and you said it yesterday, a team that a lot of us thought might win last year, but certainly a team that a lot of experts are predicting will win this season. Who do you think?
Oh, for Thursday, that's going to be a heck of a game. I know it's interesting that the Bills are favored, and usually it seems like the defending Super Bowl champion hosting that first game has usually gone to that home team as the winning team. But the Bills are favored in the game.
That's
and
interesting.
There's a lot of hype around them. They're the Super Bowl favorites in terms of the the Vegas odds and everything, but it's hard to pick. I'm just wanting to sit back and watch that game.
Right, exactly.
I might lean towards the Rams being at home. And I know that the Bills also, Tre'Davious White, their top corner, has been an all-pro in the past, is going to be out for that game, so that certainly helps the Rams' passing attack. I think Allen Robinson is going to have a nice debut, finally getting to play with a high-caliber quarterback in Matthew Stafford.
I think it'll make a difference.
Cooper Kupp, I mean, what can you say about him? He had a just ridiculous year, so I lean Rams, but really that's just one of those games. I have some player props that I'm going to bet, but in terms of picking a side, I'd lean Rams, but I'm not going to actually bet the game.
Okay. By the way, we're going to do some betting tomorrow. We're going to do some wagering. Piper, what are we laying pipe with Derek Piper? But we decided this year
experimenting with the name.
My wagering is not the best, so I thought, why don't we this year just have you kind of come up with some of your props and everything that you're going to do. I'll come up with a couple parlays. I mean, you know that.
Of course.
And then we will kind of go through that. We'll always do that on Thursday to get you ready for not only the Thursday night game, but also the weekend that lies ahead. It will be interesting to see. I think Allen Robinson's going to be big. And you mentioned I just want to sit back and watch that game. I think I have Tyson Bass. That's it. For the Bills kicker, if that's even his first name, I think that's the only dude I've got in that game in terms of fantasy. So I'm the same as you. I'm just going to sit back. I'm going to enjoy that game, watch it, and just have some fun. All right, it is time to roll through the NFL. Are you wanting to just kind of go division by division? Do you want to start?
Yeah, let's do that.
You want to start like AFC? Would that be the best thing to do?
How about AFC East?
Okay, let's do it.
So these odds, I didn't let it breathe. That was a Hans D move. My fault.
You know what? I played the wrong one because this one is more of our college. It's more of the generic. Let's get to that, right? I mean, that is more of the NFL, as we know, from Fox.
The let it breathe lesson.
Let's go,
Hans
baby.
D and Jim Edmonds still have not figured it out. Apparently, neither have I. Starting with the AFC East, these odds brought to you by BetUS. You've heard all about them. Go check them out at BetUS.com. The Buffalo Bills minus 250 for the AFC East to win the division. Patriots and Dolphins at plus 450, and the Jets at plus 2,500. 25 to 1.
I'll ask you, minus 250 to win the division. The Bills are going to win that division.
You'd imagine.
I mean, there's not many death taxes and the Bills will win that division this year, right?
That division's been pretty chalky through the years.
It really has.
Patriots every year.
Yep.
And then now that Tom Brady's no longer there, it's the Bills.
So my question is that the kind of a wager that you would do? I mean, you're not gonna gain much on your money. So what is that? You bet 20 to win.
You have to bet 25 to win 10.
Yeah. Okay. So is that something you would even do? I guess in that sense, you know you're going to win, probably.
I think you got to come up with another favored to win the division. So like the Bucks, you could put the Bucks and the Bills together.
Okay.
The Bucks to win the South and the Bills to win the AFC East, and that'll be more like even money. So that would be bet 20 to win 20 type of thing. But of course, you need two to come through and dodging a major injury, particularly at quarterback.
Right.
But the Dolphins are really, in my opinion, the only one that can wreck that.
Yeah, I would agree.
If everything goes right, they have Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. They've spent a good amount of money on that defense as well. I just don't know that so much of this in the NFL is one quarterback is superior to the other one, and you can't bet against that. I mean, Tua, he still has a ton to prove, man.
There are so many good teams in the AFC that I was about ready to tell you I would almost book the Dolphins as a wild card team, but then you start thinking about like the AFC West in general, where all four teams. I don't know if you even know if that's possible.
They at least get to beat up on each other in that sense, and the Dolphins do get to play the Jets. I think the Patriots are going to – they've been down in terms of not making the postseason. Well, they did last year and got just slaughtered by the Bills. But this year I think they will actually miss the playoffs.
Okay.
Turns out when you don't get receivers for your quarterback, it's an issue.
Yeah, that would be.
Aguilar and Jacoby Myers, and everyone will be just so demised by seeing the Patriots just not be very good.
Oh, it'd be terrible. Well, you've got their guy, man. You got, what is it, N'Keal?
Oh, I don't think he made the roster, N'Keal Harry.
Oh, he didn't?
Man,
how the mighty have fallen.
And who knows?
It's funny. He was an ASU guy, so I've always kind of kept track of him, and I thought, he's going to be pretty. He was good in college. But, all right, so, I mean, I don't think I think that's a no-brainer with the Bills winning the AFC East.
AFC North, the Baltimore Ravens plus 140. They're the favorites in this division. Right behind them, Cincinnati Bengals plus 170, Browns
Ooh.
plus 375, and the Steelers getting no love.
Wow.
Plus 850. Mitch Trubisky is announced as their starter, so them getting no love is warranted in my opinion.
If they make the playoffs this year, then I'm done. I know that it's rigged. I know that it's just always going to come up aces for the Steelers. I mean, this would be the year that I'd be like, really? I'll be honest with you right now. I don't know what their odds would be to make the playoffs, the Steelers, but I would almost bet it. I would almost throw $10 on that because literally, like I've said, for 51 years, I think there's been 3 that they haven't made the playoffs in my lifetime. So in my mind, I'd be like, you know what? There's no way in hell they should make the playoffs, but I'm going to go ahead and bet $10 that they do it.
That's one of those emotional hedges where you're like, I'll be happy if they finally miss the playoffs, even though you're not going to believe it'll happen.
It's worth $10 to me.
So why not put money on it to happen? And if they manage to do it, you'll be angry, but you'll win money. So
sorry, Steelers fans. I'm just jealous. I've told you that. I've told all of you Steelers fans that I'm just jealous. So it's nothing but, jealousy coming from me. That's an interesting one with the Ravens and also the Bengals. Of course, the Bengals were in the Super Bowl, and here we don't even have them winning the division the next season. And
do you believe in the Super Bowl loser curse?
Well, when you go back, it looks like a lot of times it works. I believe in Joe Burrow, and I believe in that passing attack. And Joe Mixon had a great season last year, and they got that offensive line a little bit corrected, and now it's, I think, to the point where they're keeping Burrow intact, and he's learning. I mean, this is Joe Burrow in year 3, and you could argue that he is the most talented quarterback in the NFL. You could argue that. I understand that he wouldn't rank as number 1. There's so many other guys. I mean, but Joe Burrow, is he top 5?
If not, he's pretty close. I mean, he's in that top 5, 6 type of range, and it's crazy for a guy that's already just going into his 3rd year.
Right. And then you've got the Ravens with J.K. Dobbins. I mean, can they get anybody? I mean, they get rid of Marquise Brown. So Mark Andrews, I guess, is going to have to pull his weight, which he did last season. He had a great year. As
Rashad Bateman,
the
Minnesota is their number 1 receiver.
That scares me a little. I think my money would go to the Bengals at plus 170 to win that division.
I like the Bengals as well.
Okay.
I think people sleeping on them, interestingly enough, I think you can get them to make the playoffs at pretty close to even money, which is crazy to me.
I know.
Too many weapons on offense. And their defense actually played pretty decent in the postseason. And that was a close game. I mean, it was a 1-score game with the Rams all the way down to the final stretch there. So, and for the Ravens with Lamar coming off the injury, questionable weapons receiver-wise, I like the Bengals instead.
Was T. Higgins in your draft, was he kind of the guy? Isn't it funny how this year, I mean, he had a great year last year. I mean, I had Jamar Chase last season. And every time I'm like, B. Chase. Nope, it's Higgins again. Of course. And I just thought, okay, I'm picking Higgins up next season because he catches everything. But
he's a big red zone target.
He is.
He's kind of that touchdown thief. Chase is going to get a ton of yards regardless.
Yep. And Boyd, I think Boyd's a pretty good receiver too. I mean, he's a guy that can sneak you 5 catches for 50 a game. And if he's doing that and Chase is getting his yards and T's getting his volume, I mean, this is going to be a tough offense to stop.
It will. AFC South. Per BetUS, the Titans, the favorites at plus 1. No, actually, they're ordered differently. The Colts minus 135 are the favorites. The Titans plus 165. Jaguars plus 750. And the Houston Texans, the Lovie Smith.
It's always good to be in that division.
28-1.
It's always good to be in.
Yeah, it really is.
I mean, the Indianapolis Colts woke up one day in that division and said, wow, we get to dominate this division every year. Essentially.
Let me ask you this. How much better will the Colts be going from Carson Wentz to Matt Ryan?
I think a ton. I really do. I'm a Matt Ryan guy in the sense that I'm not talking fantasy. Although he had his day in fantasy when he was teaming up with Roddy White. And Julio Jones and the crew. I just think for what Indianapolis wants to do, I think he's going to be a perfect fit for them. Because I think the one thing that you always love for a quarterback is that completion percentage. Matt Ryan's always been pretty solid with that. And I think knowing that Jonathan Taylor's going to be a workhorse again, I can't think now of the Colts wide receiver that
everyone's hyping Michael Pittman
Jr. Yep. I just think that Matt Ryan is going to be a guy that will have a lot of success in that offense because he doesn't have to do a ton. The stuff he has to do, I think he can do. And you know the other thing, there's this thing that I do truly believe in. And I talk about my team because I've seen it. But a guy like Kurt Warner who had done it but was kind of wanting that redemption, a guy like Carson Palmer who kind of came to Arizona.
Boiler up.
Those guys, those are veterans that know what it takes to win, and they want to win. And I get the feeling that Matt Ryan, who made it to the Super Bowl, didn't win it. I think in his mind, he's got the idea that, you know what, this Indy team, we can go pretty far, and I'm going to do my part not to mess it up. So I like the Colts to win that division.
I do as well, and the Titans losing A.J. Brown was a big deal for their offense as well. I think the Jaguars, I don't expect them to win the division, but I think they could be better than some people expect. Trevor Lawrence taking a big step forward with Doug Peterson at the helm this year. Moving on to the AFC West.
Travis Etienne.
Good luck predicting this division.
Oh, my goodness.
The Chiefs, per BetUS, are the favorites to win the division at plus 160. The Chargers at plus 250. The Broncos also at plus 250. And the Raiders, 6-1, rounding out that just loaded, so offensively talented AFC West.
If you put the Raiders in the NFC North, do they win that division?
It'd be tough for me to pick them over the Packers. But
yeah.
They got more weapons.
You get the gist of it.
They'd be a playoff team, no doubt. Easy.
That is a team that is dangerous as heck in New Allegiant Stadium, and yet they're picked to finish fourth in that division. Bart Scott on ESPN, he said the Chiefs wouldn't even make the playoffs. When you look at the schedule they have this season, of course, they won that division last year. So it's one of those where they're playing all the one seeds from the other conferences or other divisions when they pair up against them. I just have a hard time not picking the Chargers in that with Justin Herbert. I know you and I both.
Yes.
That's our boy. But I love Eckler. I love Keenan Allen. Mike Williams, the way he came on last season. I think they're innovative, and I think Herbert can make a lot of stuff happen. So what was it? It was the Chiefs at what?
Plus 160, Chargers plus 250.
Oh, I know this isn't even supposed to be a ton about betting. I'm more of just who we think wins divisions. But I tell you what, I think I'm going money on what was the team I said 2 divisions ago? Goodness sakes. Oh, Cincinnati. I think I'm going money Cincinnati, money San Diego to win those divisions.
I like it. I'm scared how much I love the Chargers.
I know.
And I know they've been a team that in the past has had a hard time making the run in the postseason.
Right.
But Justin Herbert wasn't on those teams, and they just have a sick amount of weapons, and then defensively they add Khalil Mack opposite Joey Bosa. I mean, jeez. J.C. Jackson, they got the corner from the Patriots, just adds to their secondary with Derwin James. I love the Chargers. I think the Raiders offensively will be a machine.
Yes, they will.
Talked about thinking Derek Carr is going to be a really good fantasy quarterback. I think that if you were to bet props on him, I think he's going to have a huge year. He put up the passing yards last year, and now he's got a awesome red zone weapon in Devontae Adams. And Darren Waller is going into the season. He's supposed to be active week 1. If he stays healthy, they'll put up just crazy numbers.
He could be really good. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back. You know what we're not going to be able to do is get through the NFC.
That's fine.
But I want to get through the NFC is what I'm saying. Why don't we do that bottom of next hour?
Okay.
We'll get through the NFC. Is that fair?
Yeah, for sure.
I think I'd like to do that because we've got Aaron Lemming coming up at 5:05. When we come back, let's touch a little bit on the Bears. Leading into Aaron Lemming, we'll hear from Aaron Lemming. If we need to hold Bart Miller, the offensive line coach for Illinois, and some Illinois talk until tomorrow, we'll do that. I think I don't want to shortchange the NFC with only giving us 4 minutes to talk about it. So we'll do that at the bottom of next hour. But right now we're going to take a quick break. We're back. It is The Drive.
Illinois football is back. Shop at Game Day Spirit this fall and gear up to support your Fighting Illini football team. With great football designs and brand new apparel from top brands, they're the one-stop shop to get everything you need this football season. Shop with them at the corner of Neal and Kirby in Champaign, 6th and Green in Campustown, and online 24/7 at GameDaySpirit.com. Game Day Spirit, where Illini fans shop.
Loud and clearly better, good vibes. Good vibes!
Hi, Hi, this is Steve from Good Vibes.
And I'm Luke Goody, your favorite guard.
You know, Luke, you're the go-to guy when we need that corner 3.
And I know Good Vibes is the go-to place when you want a great TV.
That's right, Luke. Our mission is to make your shows and games look and sound live.
Sounds simple, but you have to really put in the work to be good at anything.
You got that right. I can tell by your defense, hundreds of hours of serious practice are behind it.
I guess in 50 years, Good Vibes has a few hundred hours getting good at-home entertainment as well.
Lots of practice, a talented team, and the best equipment, like LG OLED TVs.
Same here. My teammates, the gym, and the coaches all make me and my game better.
But you have to want to be the best. That comes from inside and can't be taught. I think you, me, and LG have that in common. I can't wait to watch you on the court this fall.
If you want a steak, I mean a steak, prepared the way you want it, you've got to go to Long Branch Steakhouse. Hi, it's Jay Lehman. It's been over a year since I was introduced to Donnie at the Long Branch Steakhouse in Gifford. And when I want a great steak, that's where I go. And the sides, the Brussels sprouts, the mac and cheese, and the salad with Donnie's secret frog dressing. Long Branch Steakhouse in downtown Gifford. Open Wednesday through Saturday from 5 to 9 p.m. There's always room for the Long Branch Steakhouse.
D&D Advertising has the new 2022 football schedules ready to pick up at these fine businesses. Champagne Eye Professionals, Small Cakes Cupcakery and Creations, Triple T Car Wash, New Prairie Solar, New Era Cannabis Products, Beast Mode Painting, Topline General Construction, Classic Granite and Marble, George Malik Company Garage Doors. Patronize these fine businesses. Remco Electric, Dr. G's Brainworks, Jody Boyd Classic Homes Real Estate, NPS Sales Contracting and Repair, Express Employment Professionals, Vapors E-Cigs, Mike Williams Heating and Air Company, GEF Pest Control, KCM Auto Care, Inman Place Senior Living, SK Exteriors Fencing, Roofing and Siding, Vita Bogetta Vinyl Installation and Detailing Armor. D&D Advertising Enterprises is not licensed, affiliated with, or endorsed by any university, sport, institution, or program unless specifically stated in writing. No proceeds from these funds collected from your ad will be given to any educational institution or sports team. D&D Advertising is not responsible for any schedule changes made after printing.
Hey, Illini fans, it's Georgia B at Stevie J Broadcasting, and you are listening to the amazing ESPN Radio 93.5.
It is The Drive, ESPN Radio 93.5. Lonte, Derek Piper. The Drive with Tay and Piper. Talking some NFL there. Whip through the AFC. We'll go through the NFC. The bottom of next hour, we've got Aaron Lemming. Of course, Bears Report coming up at 5:05. So anxious to talk to Aaron about the Chicago Bears. I know that Derek always gives me a smirk when I say that I'm anxious to talk about the Bears. You can't learn a lot from the preseason. We know that, and if you think you can, you're going to be fooled, right? There are way too many times a team goes undefeated in the preseason, and it's week 8 when they finally notch their first victory in the regular season.
Don't put that on us, Ricky Bobby.
Right. It's a whole different beast when it comes to that. As you watched some of the preseason games, I'm going to be transparent. I watched one Cardinals preseason game, and it was like a half. I had zero interest in it. It just didn't do me much. It was all the guys battling for the last spots on the roster in one of those situations. So when you watched whatever you witnessed with the Bears this preseason, but especially Justin Fields, let's be honest, it all starts there. Did you change your tune at all? Not to the point of you're making the Bears a contender, but just to the point of maybe the season won't be as bad as we think going in.
I don't know.
Okay.
Honestly, that's the most honest answer I can ultimately give you. I enjoyed what Justin Fields showed, but in particular that Cleveland Browns game where he throws for 3 touchdowns in the first half. And I know that there are those that are analyzing the preseason say Justin Fields was the highest graded quarterback of any in the preseason. I'm not putting a ton of stock in that. Well, it's good to know that your quarterback is trending in a positive direction going into the season versus, he already in preseason doesn't look like the guy, and the Bears might have to draft another quarterback and so on and so forth. I'm still terrified of the offensive line. I know they've shown in preseason when they played the ones for a very brief stretch to open it up against the Chiefs, and Fields was hit and flushed out of the pocket. And I just think that that's something that he's going to have to go through. That's going to be his reality the entire season. But I do think that there is something to be said for him being more on time with throws, recognizing certain things and processing quicker. Now, again, the preseason, you're going to see a lot of vanilla defenses.
Yes.
You're not going to see the advanced coverages. You're not going to see all the blitzes that you would expect to see during a game. And here come the 49ers marching to town with Nick Bosa and just that terrifying front. And
you're here. Oh, okay.
A 49ers defense is pretty darn good. I just hope that Fields doesn't get killed.
Right.
There have been certain guys that, like Jaquan Brisker, who I've been encouraged by, the rookie safety that they drafted in the second round, who really flashed in that first preseason game. I think he got a little nicked up after that, but I think that they will have a much improved secondary. Hopefully Eddie Jackson's part of that mix as well. But I'm not expecting a whole lot out of this team. And if they stink and have a high draft pick and a bunch of money to spend in 2023, then so be it. I'll be happy. I just want to see – I don't care what the record is. As long as Fields shows signs as much as he can with the situation around him that he is the guy or that he is close to that or just trending towards that, then I'll be happy. That's what I'll be watching first and foremost, and anything else I don't have much high expectations.
Yeah, because really if Fields does his trick and he continues to progress and you know that you've got him for the next 5 years or more, and knowing you're on the cusp of having a ton of relief in the salary cap range where next season you guys are going to be able to go out and do some damage. And not only that, Pipes, and this is how it works, right? This is how teams at the bottom get back to the top, et cetera. But, chances are if you do what you do this year, you're going to have a pretty high draft pick next season. Plus, you're going to have a ton of money. So you're going to be able to do some things to where next season at this time, on September 7th or whatever of next year, going into that season, it will be, I think, one of those years where it's like, I can't wait to see the Bears. Now, I don't know if they do enough to where all of a sudden they are – the team to win a Super Bowl, but certainly they could be a team to compete with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, he's getting older. So, and you've proven in all your time you can't beat him anyway.
That's all I want, but I know I'm not going to probably not going to get that until he hangs it up.
Right? Just be done. In terms of the North in general, do you think the Vikings can do it? Do you think they can overtake Green Bay, or is the quarterback come into play there where it's like, nah?
It seems like so many people are on the Vikings this offseason, and I still hesitate. Yeah, with Kirk.
He puts up a lot.
Kirk's decent.
He is.
I think he gets knocked. I understand he's terrible in primetime games and big spots. You still trust him, but the weapons you can't argue with. I mean, if Dalvin Cook's healthy, he's one of the best backs in the NFL. Justin Jefferson, one of the top receivers in the NFL. Adam Thielen's still doing it.
Yep.
And a guy that can rack up touchdowns. And then I just wonder about defensively, is Minnesota going to be good enough to get stops, and are they just going to have to win a bunch of high-scoring games?
That's
because
fair.
They haven't been on the same level, because prior to the past 2 or 3 years, Minnesota, you could chalk up as a top 10 defense pretty much every year. That's not the case anymore.
And then all of a sudden their defensive backs couldn't cover anybody.
Right. And I think that's where their problem is. Patrick Peterson is their number one corner. I would still lean Green Bay, even though they've got questions with who Rodgers is going to throw to. We know who it's going to be. It's going to be Allen Lazard. Is he going to be a 1?
Yeah.
Good defense, Aaron Rodgers, and then Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon in the backfield. I'd lean Green Bay still.
Okay.
That'd be my pick if I had to make one.
Yeah, I think you're good. Well,
I think I do have to make one.
We do.
Packers.
Okay. Well, we're going to do it next hour. We're going to go through the NFC, look at the BetUS.com odds, let you know what they're thinking on the NFC, all of the divisions, and we'll go from there. But when we come back, more Bears talk. Aaron Lemming, Bears Report. He's our guy, man. He's going to join us, and we'll talk some Chicago Bears. The Bears. It is The Drive.
What kind of bedside manner would you like your doctor to have? At Roof Doctors, they make sure you feel good about what they can do for you. They make sure they answer all of your questions and feel comfortable about whatever procedure your roof needs. Roof Doctors has helped customers for over 30 years. Randy and Tammy have helped make lives better in our community with their generosity and kindness. Roof Doctors is a company you can trust if you need anything done on your roof. Roof Doctors in Urbana. They make you their number one priority. Bulldog Disposal in Muhammad is excited to introduce a brand new service, the Doggy Bag. It's a 6 cubic yard dumpster bag that's perfect for all your household cleanouts, small remodels, or repairs. Have pieces of an old roof you need to get rid of? Use the doggy bag. Have a garage full of junk? Use the doggy bag. Bulldog will drop the bag off and let you keep it as long as you need to. Then, once you've got it filled, they'll come back and pick it up. Find out more online at bulldoggybag.com. You're listening to WSJK ESPN 93.5 Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, your home for the St. Louis Cardinals.
A pushback from the Trump legal team. I'm Rich Dennison, Fox News. Attorneys for former President Trump say the latest leak about classified materials taken from his Florida home shows no regard for the truth.
Some of the documents detail top secret U.S. intelligence that's so protected, even many senior national security leaders aren't informed about them. The Washington Post reports the documents are only allowed to be seen by the president and some high-ranking members of the administration who also have authority to grant clearance.
Fox's Ryan Schmelz, a Trump lawyer, says leaks are damaging public confidence in the integrity of the system. Longtime Trump ally Steve Bannon is expected to surrender to authorities in New York City tomorrow to face charges in a state criminal case. The charges are expected to be connected to an investigation into a private fundraising effort asking donors to support private construction of a border wall at the U.S.-Mexico border. Federal prosecutors had originally investigated the case as fraud, but former President Trump issued a pardon to Bannon before leaving office. Presidential pardons do not apply to state criminal cases. Dr. Dimitri Daskalakis with the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says supply is no longer an issue getting monkeypox vaccines to those most at risk.
Over 460,000 doses have been administered. Keep in mind, the population at highest risk is approximately 1.6 million people right now.
The White House monkeypox response team says its strategy of sending thousands of vaccines to Pride events across the country is working, and now it's focusing on keeping up with demand. A Tennessee judge has revoked bond for Cleotha Henderson, who's charged with killing a Memphis woman who was abducted during a pre-dawn run last week. He had faced a $510,000 bond for kidnapping, theft, and fraud charges, but was charged with murder after Eliza Fletcher's body was found. America's listening to Fox News.
Every search you make, every click you take, they'll be watching you.
Tired of companies like Google and Facebook watching everything you do online? There's actually a simple solution. DuckDuckGo. It's an all-in-one privacy app with a built-in private search engine, web browser, one-click data clearing, email protection, and more, all for free. Download the app today and get the most comprehensive privacy protection with a push of a button. DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
From the very beginning, and every workday since, at every shift and every individual effort, we carry a common purpose, a common cause. It's a duty we proudly honor, knowing behind every product we build is your faith in us, dedicated to the craft of gun making, dedicated to your freedom, equality, security, and the promise of this great country. Smith & Wesson, empowering Americans. Learn more at smith-wesson.com.
Wall Street today recovers some recent losses. The Dow, S&P, and NASDAQ all ending the day with gains. The Commerce Department warns billions of dollars in federal funds for the computer chip industry won't be a blank check for companies.
The more than $50 billion included in the recently passed CHIPS Act comes with strings attached, Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo says.
And by the way, if they take money and then do any of those things, we'll claw back the money.
Raimondo says companies cannot use taxpayer dollars for stock buybacks or to invest overseas. Firms must also prove to the Commerce Department why the money is necessary for new semiconductor investments.
This isn't money to make them more profitable or pad their bottom line.
President Biden plans to travel to Ohio Friday for the groundbreaking of an Intel semiconductor facility. At the White House, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
Some Texas state police officers could be investigated for their actions the day a gunman shot and killed 21 people at an elementary school in Uvalde.
5 officers from the Texas Department of Public Safety are being referred to the Inspector General to have their acts and judgments on the day of the Uvalde school shooting be formally investigated. Their investigation was reported by the Austin American-Statesman newspaper. 19 students and 2 adults were killed by a gunman that day, and both local and other police have been criticized for what is perceived as a failure to act. The Inspector General could determine whether or not the officers followed policy and if they should be disciplined. Eben Brown, Fox News.
UPS plans to hire more than 100,000 workers to help handle the holiday rush this season, in line with hiring the previous 2 years. Holiday season volumes usually start rising in October and remain high into January. While online shopping has slowed from the height of the pandemic, it's still well above historic norms. I'm Rich Dennison, and this is Fox News.
Ignition sequence start. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Liftoff.
Check. I literally just create madness.
Well, they're up.
I'm going to go off here.
They don't have a great quarterback.
I got to take a break. I'm getting in trouble.
To win the Big Ten, you first got to win the West.
Bad Bunny. Have you heard his name in a while?
No.
Has it bothered you?
No. Defensively, they got to come in with some confidence.
Is that even analytics?
I'm in a parking garage, kind of lost.
Terrence Shannon, Matthew Meyer, R.J. Melendez, Coleman Hawkins.
These trophy presentations aren't over.
I didn't come here to go 5-7.
I'm so proud of Illinois football right now.
I'm so tired of Joel Embiid.
We're not taking Patrick Corbin.
I want to bet the Bears.
Oh.
You are Reba McEntire's niece.
Roshan Russell.
Coach Bielma.
You no longer salute to yourself.
What? We got all kinds of things for you here.
There's a lot of glass.
Oh.
Guys, we have breaking news.
Uh-oh.
It's The Drive.
Schmack Dogs.
Thunderstruck.
Oh, yeah. Good afternoon. It is The Drive with Tay and Piper. You want to throw it out there real quick? It just went by.
Boiler up.
Oh, wait, it's still going by. It's still going by. Those that don't know what we do, you'll learn as we go along. All right, it is The Drive with Tay and Piper. Lante, Derek Piper. Went through the AFC, looking at all of that, and man, that AFC West is tasty. I cannot wait to get that going and seeing what happens. And I think right off the bat, isn't it Raiders and Chargers?
Yep.
That's going to be fun to watch as we roll. So we're going to go through the NFC at the bottom of the hour, and we even talked a little Bears leading into Aaron Leming, Bear Report. He's going to join us right now on the Dick Van Dyke Appliance Roll phone line. What's up, Aaron?
What's going on, guys? How we doing?
Well, we're doing well. Before we get to the Bears, you had mentioned, I asked you if you were in a beer garden in Lincoln Park drinking a beer, and you're like, no, I just got off work. I'm actually watching the White Sox. 3 games out. They just tied it, you mentioned. You've been giving me the report. Why? Like, what? I don't get the White Sox. I understand the injuries, but you should be able to overcome a little bit of that, right, and get something done. Why has it been like it's been?
I think a lot of White Sox fans are all asking themselves the same question. I think part of it comes down to the fact that they clearly hired the wrong manager. I mean, I don't think that that's really even up for debate anymore. But I don't know, man. It's just like watching them this year. It's really just frustrating to watch. They'll get runners on first and second, or second and third, or the bases loaded with nobody out or one out. And they get guys that just go up there and swing at everything. I honestly, more than anything, I think they got the talent. I think it's just more of a mentality thing. And I don't know. It's just, I mean, we see it all the time with baseball's a little more random, it feels like. And it just seems like this is just not the White Sox year. And of course, they're trying to pull everybody back in again. But I'm not a believer. Let's just put it that way.
Okay.
We'll see.
That's fair.
Aaron, let's get to the NFL. What you cover. I'm just geeked up to incredible proportions for the NFL. I don't know how much it has to do with the Bears as a Bears fan, and I wish it was more so. But you cover the Bears. Let's start on the positive, because I think the biggest thing that Bears fans will look for is the evaluation of Justin Fields through the season and his preseason by his stats, especially his third game there in Cleveland was very good. What did you take from what he showed and just how he's progressing going into the season?
Well, I mean, the NFL season's always exciting, right? And I think even for, as long as you have realistic expectations for the Bears and you're not expecting them to go on and try to win a Super Bowl this year, I think there could be, a considerable amount of fun of just watching the team and knowing that it's not going to be nearly as bad or hard to watch as it was last year. So I think that's at least a plus. But, Yeah, I think one of the big reasons why it's not going to be nearly as tough to watch is obviously the coaching staff. But I think the big thing is the fact that they have Justin Fields, and I think, at least in my opinion, and I know everybody's a little bit different. It's one of those things with preseason. You don't want to overreact one way or another. But I feel like had Justin Fields in this first team offense played an entire half of football and not move the ball, or had let's just say like one or two decent drives and they settle for field goals, everybody would be questioning what's going on with the offense, what's going on with Justin Fields. But then, they go out and they string 3 touchdowns together. They look really good. I mean, Justin Fields was about as perfect as you can get for a quarterback. He's 14 for 16, had a little over 150 yards, had the 3 touchdowns. I mean, really the two incompletions that he had were, one of them was a little high of a pass on him get, kind of blitzed up the middle. And then, the other one was just a throwaway in the very beginning of the game. But yeah, I think that everything is going to circle around Justin Fields, and I've talked to a few different people about this. It's not overstating. It's not living in the moment. Like, I feel like even though yes, it was preseason, yes, the Browns were missing some starters, and yes, it was only a half of football. I feel like that was the most complete that Justin Fields has looked since he's been in the NFL. And again, that doesn't mean it's going to translate come the regular season every game. It doesn't mean there's going to be, a steady incremental progress on a weekly basis, or he's going to come out and look like Patrick Mahomes. But I do think that to a certain extent, that was a very good foundational piece to have moving into the season to say, okay, we know he can do this. They know that the offense can move the ball. That's something to build off of.
Aaron, how much do you think his progression is tied to, and of course we're going to have to see it play out. He's got 2 tough tasks right off the bat with the 49ers and the Packers to open things up, but with Luke Getsy and how he's utilizing him in this offense, and then also just a rookie quarterback now going into year 2, you're going to obviously have a progression there. You would hope so. But what, in terms of the situation, you mentioned the coaching staff, how much more confidence do you have that Luke Getsy is going to get the most out of Justin Fields or put him in a better position than what Matt Nagy was doing?
Well, I don't know that it could get much worse, right, than what it was under Matt Nagy. And I say that with knowing that we've seen that, it seems like every single time you feel like it can't get worse, it somehow does. But I don't know. The differences, and even just seeing what they ran vanilla in the preseason offensively, I think is something that should give Bears fans a lot of hope, right? Because, obviously their offensive line is a big question mark moving in. I think there's a little bit more upside, at least in my opinion. There's a little bit more upside than there was probably like a month or 2 ago. I think kind of seeing everything play out. You got a few young guys there. I think things are looking a little bit better, and I think there's, again, just more upside. I think that's something to hang your hat on. And then receiver is also another spot where outside of Darnell Mooney, and I guess you could throw in tight ends with Cole Kmet, they don't really have any, established receiving options. But again, that's kind of where the coaching comes in. You talk about the offensive line. It's like they're going to be able to do different things with the fullback, with the tight ends, different things to be able to help Justin Fields, be able to help Braxton Jones out there at left tackle. A 5th-round rookie starting at left tackle is a lot to ask. But obviously they feel comfortable enough doing that. And I think even with the receivers, getting quality route runners, right, I think is going to be a big thing for them, and being able to scheme open these guys. Because I think if you go back and you watch this offense over the last few years under Matt Nagy, there was a lot of predictability, and there were pretty much 3 different route combinations that they were running. And really, Allen Robinson was always asked to, just run basically button hooks the entire time, and it kind of gets old after a while. But I think that just from a overall creativity standpoint, and I think really, Luke Getsy's a young guy. He's an inexperienced guy as a play caller, obviously, but I think that there's a lot more untapped potential there than we saw over the last few years with Matt Nagy.
Aaron Lemming does a great job covering the Bears for the Bear Report. You can follow him on Twitter at Aaron Lemming NFL. Maybe you're procrastinating and you're waiting to do your fantasy draft tonight. You don't have much time left. Maybe you've already done it.
That's risky.
Maybe you're into player props. But I'm curious. I'm leading into Darnell Mooney and Cole Kmet. I'm interested in your thoughts. Guys that are going to be in marquee roles in terms of their workload in this offense. Mooney going to be the unquestioned number 1 wide receiver. How do you think he handles that kind of attention? Can he produce, even knowing that he's going to draw the top assignments from the defense? Cole Kmet, someone that's going to get, you would think, a lot of volume at tight end. How do you project those guys? Maybe, I'm not asking you to be a fantasy expert, but I know that those are picks that there's not a lot of guys you would pick from the Bears. Those would be the guys you would probably target, or maybe you're looking at to put a player prop out there on week 1 against the Niners. What do you think about those two and just being the go-to targets for this Bears offense in the passing game?
Well, it's funny that you mentioned fantasy drafts because I finally had my last of the 3 last night, and I actually did somehow end up with Darnell Mooney in like the 7th round. It was like he was the best. I've never been somebody who wants to favor one team or another. I just take whoever's there. Doesn't matter. Packers doesn't matter. Like I'm trying to win. I'm trying to win in fantasy, but I actually ended up getting in the 7th round. And in truthfully speaking, I do think that he's going to have a big year because here's the thing: he's going into year 3 for one, and he's going to be eligible for an extension next year. And I think that is definitely worth keeping in mind, just because the Bears are probably going to want to start getting some of these younger guys locked up. Darnell Mooney's going to be one of them. David Montgomery's going to be up for a contract extension. Cole Kmet could be as well. I mean, David Montgomery will be a free agent next year, but I think when you look at this offense, the 2 main pieces are going to be Darnell Mooney and Cole Kmet. And like you pointed out, I mean, Cole Kmet, I think just based on how this offense is going to run and what it's going to feature, it's going to be pretty similar to what we've seen, with San Francisco, what we've seen with the Packers. It's going to be a pretty similar thing. If this offense can make Robert Tonyan into a quality tight end, it should be able to make Cole Kmet into a quality tight end. The numbers that have kind of stuck out to me, at least in terms of projection for me, is I'm thinking probably, 50, 60 receptions, 750 yards. And I think the big thing with him is he's got to get in the end zone. He's got to be more productive in the red zone, and he's got to actually score touchdowns. He didn't have a single touchdown last year, which is crazy considering the guy's 6'6" and he's like 260. He's huge. Like, you got to be able to actually produce in the end zone and the red zone. So I think as far as Darnell Mooney goes, I think he's going to be a guy that, he had a good year last year. I think his numbers were a little bit better than what his actual play was and his production was. He's a really good route runner, though. I think the big thing is as long as he stays healthy, and as long as he doesn't go out and drop a bunch of passes like he did last year, I think that he's going to be their unquestioned number 1 guy. And really, for the majority of last year, he was as well, because Allen Robinson may have physically been out on the field, but he really wasn't mentally there. So I think those are kind of your 2 guys. I think the big question is going to be who can step up into that third target type of role. Is it going to be a guy like Dante Pettis? Is it going to be, Byron Pringle, who they signed? Maybe, maybe EQ St. Brown. Velus Jones Jr. is another one. The thing with him is he hasn't stayed healthy throughout all of training camp and preseason. So those are kind of the bigger questions. I think if you added, let's just say you added a solid, let's just say they went out and they have traded for Amari Cooper this offseason. I think that a receiving core of, a Darnell Mooney and an Amari Cooper with Cole Kmet at tight end and some more depth options, I think you can get by with that. And I don't think a lot of people are looking at this too negatively. So they need somebody, a second and or third receiver to kind of step up, and I think that's going to be the bigger question.
Aaron, I do want to ask you about this Week 1 matchup with the San Francisco 49ers coming to town. Trey Lance against Justin Fields. That'll be a big matchup, a lot of focus on those two. As a Bears fan, the first thing that terrifies me is Nick Bosa and that 49ers front going against the Bears offensive line. How big of a concern should that be, and what are you expecting on that side of the ball? I do want to get your thoughts on Trey Lance against the Bears defense, but first and foremost, can Justin Fields survive this game with what is a pretty formidable San Francisco 49ers front seven?
Well, I think that's going to be a big question, right? I mean, and it's funny because Justin Fields actually kind of touched on that today during his media session and basically said, Braxton Jones isn't going to be perfect in Week 1 going up against Nick Bosa. I mean, Nick Bosa is one of the better pass rushers in the league. They also have a good interior as well. So Eric Armstead is probably, the big name there on the interior. But yeah, this is going to be a very tough task. And I think, again, kind of going back to what we were talking about earlier, a lot of this is going to come down to coaching. You've got a rookie left tackle. You've got a right tackle that's making, I think, his 6th or 7th start in Larry Borum. You've got an interior offensive line where right now nobody seems to know if Lucas Patrick is going to play. And if he plays, is he going to play at center? Is he going to play at right guard? And if he plays at right guard, then does that push Tevin Jenkins out of lineup? There's just a lot of unknowns. I do think that they are going to struggle at times. I think the big key is going to be, again, you have the fullback, you have some of these extra tight ends, some of these walking tight ends. I think that that's going to be the big thing. You're going to have to give help to these tackles. You're going to have to hope that that interior is going to be better than it has been over the last few years. So, yeah, it's going to be a tough task. But these first 2 weeks of the season between them and Green Bay's got a really good front seven too. Those are going to be really tough asks, and I think that is going to be a really good barometer to see exactly where they're at, kind of moving into that, I'd say, that first quarter of the season.
At Aaron Lemming, NFL, I know there's some anxiety about Justin Fields and what happens this year. I would think in San Francisco, there's some anxiety about Trey Lance. And last season, you saw glimpses of it, but a lot of running. I mean, he kind of just went with what he knew best, right? And that's, all right, I'm just going to take this thing and just take off running with it. What are you expecting out of this Bears defense against a guy like Trey Lance? How did they do last season with running quarterbacks? And, I'm not asking you to predict Trey Lance this season, but certainly he's a guy that wants to, what am I trying to say? Just kind of pocket it and go. I can't. I need football to get here so I can get the terms back. But I know the over/under is like 33 yards with him, so he's going to take off and run. What do you think the Bears defense will do against a guy like that?
Well, I think the big concern that I have with this Bears defense throughout the year is going to be how they're going to stop the run in general. I think that especially when you look at the moves that they made on the defensive line and really the guys that left. I mean, you're talking Akeem Hicks, Eddie Goldman, Bilal Nichols. Khalil Mack was also good against the run. I mean, these are all guys that made that defensive front as versatile as it was. And now you're looking at a unit that is transitioning back to a 4-3
Sure.
that has a lot of new names. I think that the Trey Lance running factor is going to be huge. It's just one of those things where they have so many weapons offensively, right? I mean, they've got a good stable of running backs. They've got Deebo Samuel. They've got George Kittle, although who knows? I mean, apparently George Kittle had a hamstring injury today or on Monday, and it's kind of looking like it's up in the air. He didn't practice today, which is, again, great for my fantasy team, but we're not talking about that, right? So, it's just one of those things where, I think there's a lot of unknowns. Like, if people talk about the unknowns with the Bears offense, and that's probably more of a negative connotation, but I think there's also a lot of unknowns with the 49ers offense, because I think it was very clear last year that Kyle Shanahan had no interest in going to Trey Lance.
Right.
And he didn't. I mean, he was pretty uneven during training camp and the preseason from everything that I saw in terms of reports in training camp and then what I saw in the preseason from him. A lot of people want to slot him in as kind of that, the safer of the, let's just say the 2 or 3 quarterbacks that are kind of on, teetering on the edge of if they're going to be good or not. But I think a lot of people forget that Trey Lance has not thrown a lot of football since he was in high school. And it's just one of those situations where there's a lot of unknown with him. The physical talent's there. The athleticism's there. I mean, he's got a crazy arm. But at the same time, I think from a mental standpoint, from an accuracy standpoint, that's going to be the big question. So my personal take is this. I think if the Bears are getting the 49ers at the best time possible, because I think the 49ers are going to be a good team, but I also think they have a lot to figure out. Week one is always one of those. There's a lot of upsets. So if the Bears are going to get a team, a good team like this and try to upset them, this is probably the best time to do it.
Aaron, what will you look for out of Roquan Smith, who didn't get any preseason action reps and playing in a new position at that outside linebacker in a 4-3? What will you be watching from him? Is there any indication around the franchise that how he's fitting into a new role in Matt Eberflus's defense?
Well, I think the fact that he was voted as team captain today, I think says a lot. And I know all business aside in terms of the contract situation and everybody's feelings on that. I mean, he's a really good football player. I don't think he's to the level of Fred Warner, who we'll obviously see on Sunday, and then even a guy like Shaquille Leonard. But he's definitely up there as one of the top, I'd say, 3 to 5 linebackers in the league. And I think, moving to that will position instead of being kind of the Mike and going to that will position, I think is actually going to be beneficial for him. I think it's going to be good to be able to use him in coverage, his overall athleticism. I think he's going to hit the ground running. I think he's going to be fine. Honestly, I think that he's probably going to end up making the Bears regret not going a little higher on the contract offer and getting something done. I mean, this type of defense is tailor-made for a player like Roquan Smith, and I mean, everything that's come out so far and everything that I've heard it's all been positive reviews. Again, you take out the business side of things and you just talk about the football side of things. Like, I think as long as he stays healthy, he's going to have a huge year for this defense. He's probably going to be their best defensive player, frankly.
Yeah, Aaron Lemming's the goods. Last one for you, Aaron, the NFC North in general. We've talked all about the Bears. I mean, are the Lions do we even need to ask about the Lions? I mean, they could get a little better, but can the Vikings overtake Green Bay?
Could they? Sure. I don't think they will. I still think this is Green Bay's division to win. It's funny. I was just talking about this with somebody earlier. I don't honestly see why, and maybe I eat my words on this because I had Minnesota going 8-9 this year. I don't see why everybody's as high on Minnesota as they are. They didn't make a ton of changes outside of obviously their coach and GM, but they were, I mean, if you look at their record of the last 2 years, they're very similar to the Bears. They're in a very similar position outside of having Kirk Cousins and some more offensive weapons than the Bears were. The Bears opted to go in the rebuild direction. They opted to basically, keep running it back. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the coaching staff will make a huge difference. There's a lot of talk about Mike Zimmer. But I don't know, man. Until I see differently, even with the fact that Green Bay really doesn't have many receiving options, when you have back-to-back MVP and Aaron Rodgers, and you have that kind of defense, it's just hard to see any other team winning that division. And the Lions, I think the Lions will be a little bit better. They could finish in front of the Bears, but this whole hard knocks thing, I think, has got people a little too high right now. I don't know, man. I won't buy it until I see it. I've said it all along. I'm not a huge Dan Campbell fan. I think the shtick is really cool and it's really fun, but when it comes to winning football games, that whole playing hard for him and all the fun stuff that he says only goes so far, because if they continue to lose games, it's going to fall. The bottom will fall out, just like it did with a guy like John Fox.
Yeah, that's good. He lifts weights. We know that. Dan Campbell lifts weights, and he looks good doing it. And then who was the rook from Michigan that did a little Billie Jean? That was pretty solid. Oh,
yeah, you're talking about Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah. I mean, gold star to him. It was pretty solid. All right, now I'm going to say a word that starts with a T. I want everybody to hear that. Tuck it. That's what I was trying to think. Tuck it and run. That was what I was trying to throw out to you, Aaron Leming. All right, buddy, we always appreciate your time. I know you always say whenever, and we do reach out on occasion because you are the best when it comes to the Chicago Bears. And good luck to the start of this season for the Chicago Bears for sure. And we'll let a few games get in, maybe take your point of view down the line. Does that work?
Yeah, like I said, I'll say it every single time. Whenever you guys want me, I will always make time. I enjoy it just as much as you guys do.
Sweet.
So I love it.
Aaron Leming will be with us at 4:30 tomorrow.
I'm telling you, if you want me, you got me anytime. Don't ever hesitate reaching out.
You know what we need to do the next time? We'll just talk some fantasy with Aaron Leming and more White Sox. We'll talk more White Sox.
He might not pick up your call.
Well, that's true. We'll leave that.
Hey, the
White
Sox are up now. They're up 6-4 since we started talking. So maybe you guys have good luck charm.
Yep, Tony La Russa magic is what's happening there. Okay, maybe not. Aaron Leming, you have a great night, my friend.
All right, thanks a lot for having me on, guys. Appreciate
All right,
it.
buddy. At Aaron Leming, NFL. If you are a Bears fan or a fan of the NFL in general, you have to get on and follow Aaron Leming, especially if you're a Bears fan, because he always he throws out, on the Bear Report, they throw out articles about the Bears. He always gives you the updates on who's been, who's injured, who's not. I mean, you and I both looked at each other with George Kittle, and we're like, what, huh? So, you know what I did? Did your mind immediately, do you know who drafted George Kittle in your fantasy draft?
I don't.
See, my buddy Craig Bogle picked
I have
Kittle.
him in one.
Oh, you do? Okay.
I do.
So my buddy Bogle picked him this year, and he had him last season. And every year he and I battle over trying to get Kittle, but he picked 6th. I was 5. And so you know how snake drafts come up and down, up and down, up and down. So all of a sudden the tight ends start going, and I'm like, I don't want to take one yet. So I didn't. So Bogle doesn't either, but then he gives me this smile. And I'm like, don't you even do it. And because he knows coming back up, he's got me. So, of course, he's like, I'll take Kittle. And I'm like, you stink. And now all of a sudden, when I hear this news, first thing I think of is Craig Bogle. And I'm like, oh, well, that kind of stinks. Although my guy, Zach Ertz, dude, I have 4 guys questionable. Week 1. What have you been doing? None of them have even played. What have you been doing that you're questionable going into week 1 when you haven't even played a game? Are practices this difficult?
You need to change your team name to the Fightin' Flaherty. You should do that.
I do like that. We used to change our names every year, and one of our guys was like, you know what? I don't like this. I think we should have the consistency, because he's like, I don't know who half of you are. Like one year, the Cardinals had Jeff Blake as their quarterback. You remember he was with the Bengals, or is that even? That's way. No,
I know the name.
And then there was a Kevin Casper, I think, was a wide receiver. So my team name going in was Blake to Casper. And now, of course, he knew who I was because of the Jeff Blake, and they both played for the Cardinals. But every year, guys would change their names to just something like Turn and Spit, or something. I'm just like, he's like, I don't even know what team I'm playing this week. So I'm sticking with the Camargo Cards. I'm sticking with that. A lot of Camargo Cards on that regular season trophy. So I want to make sure that I keep that. Oh, and by the way, last thing. So we give a trophy to the regular season champion. The playoff champion gets a belt, like the Aaron Rodgers, championship belt. So I actually won the playoffs like 3 years ago, which was, I think, the first time in 20 years that I'd won a playoff. I always do really well in the regular season, and then in that little 3-game sprint, you can tell I'm not a sprinter. Because I'd be the 1 seed and lose to the 8 immediately. And it's like, oh, of course, because Corey Dillon's going to go for 260 yards on a Thursday night when nobody's even heard of the kid. But it was one of those where I finally won the belt, and then I boxed it up, and we haven't had a belt for 2 or 3 years. And so at the draft, somebody's like, do we know where the belt is? I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do some digging because I think the last person to have it was me. And today, I'm gonna show you this. I'm gonna show you this, Pipes. Today, I pulled out the belt. There it is. There it is.
Nice and official.
CIRL Fantasy Football United States Champion. It's so funny how we do this. I saw the other day, by the way, on Twitter, to do the draft order, they ran a combine. So what they had to do was I can't remember, he had to do like 5 push-ups, then he had to throw a ball. It's on the back of my shirt. What is it?
Beer pong.
Beer pong. He had to throw a ball into the red Solo Cup. As soon as he did that, he had to run and throw a football through a tire, and then he had to sprint 40 yards. And the time of that determined how you drafted. And I was just laughing reading some of now this was a national thing. I wasn't around here. But I was just reading some of the responses of people saying, oh, yeah, we do this or we do this. That's kind of cool. Do you guys do anything brilliant. Like does your champion get anything great besides money, or does the loser have to do anything stupid?
No, unfortunately not. Just winner gets money, and that's –
The other one I saw was a guy had to take oh, my goodness, it was a doll or something out to eat at a nice restaurant. And he had to sit there with this doll while he ate. And people were looking at him. And then there was another guy, of course, that went along at a different table to tape it. Oh, my goodness, it was awesome because he had finished dead last in his fantasy. I think that's awesome if you do that stuff. All right, Aaron Leming, great stuff, as always, with Aaron Leming. It's time to go through the NFC and get an idea not only with BetUS.com and the odds, but get an idea of who's going to win these divisions. Hello, Flo Rida. BetUS.com. Use promo code 935. Give them a call, 800-79-BET-US. I am locked in with my 93.5 code, getting a little extra sign-up money for the college and NFL season ahead. BetUS.com. Again, 800-79-BET-US. Maybe if you've never bet before, give that number a call, 800-79-BET-US, and they can walk you through the process of getting signed up, making sure you get your bonus for signing up. But again, use that promo code 935. Also, you can go to BetUS.com. I am geeked up for week 1 to do the squares. I'm geeked up, man. I think the squares might surpass the parlays as my favorite thing to do. Yeah, that might, but probably not.
That might be where the money's at.
Well, I'll let you know. All right, we're back. It is The Drive.
Hello again, everyone. Let's check weather. For Eastern Florida, Champaign, Urbana, and vicinity. Pleasant spell of late summertime, early September weather ahead for the rest of the work week. Over the weekend, things get a little more complicated, especially late Saturday night into Sunday. And that next weather system, a cold front and upper air feature, will linger into early next week. We have pushed back the mention of any shower activity until maybe late in the ball game towards Saturday evening, with the daytime temperatures topping out a kickoff into the lower 80s. Otherwise, for the day-to-day, some patchy fog around early on this morning. Partly sunny midday and afternoon, 79 the high. Light northeast to north wind fair tonight. Patchy fog after midnight. Low down to 57. Tomorrow, a little foggy dew first thing in the morning. Sunshine at 81. We'll bottom out in the 50s again for tomorrow night. And heading towards a warm, dry, partly cloudy Friday, the high to 83. Increasing clouds football Saturday, 82 a kickoff. Maybe a shower chance late in the ball game. Into Sunday, though, cooler at 76. Even cooler Monday. And a few more showers at 70. A couple of sprinkles Tuesday at 72. Sunshine and temperatures in the upper 70s next Wednesday. For Stevie J Broadcasting, I'm Peter Olchis, Greg Soldier.
Illinois football is back. Shop at Game Day Spirit this fall and gear up to support your Fighting Illini football team. With great football designs and brand new apparel from top brands, they're the one-stop shop to get everything you need this football season. Shop with them at the corner of Neal and Kirby in Champaign, 6th and Green in Campustown, and online 24/7 at GameDaySpirit.com. Game Day Spirit, where Illini fans shop.
Short-term market fluctuations can be unnerving for everyone. A proven way to tune out the noise and focus on long-term investment goals is to adhere to a well-constructed investment plan. This is Rob Meyer with Provident Financial Group. If you don't have a plan, we can help create one designed specifically for you. Call us today for a complimentary consultation at 217-366-3456 or online at ProvidentFinancialGroupLLC.com.
Securities and advisory services offered through Commonwealth Financial Network, member FINRA, SIPC, a registered investment advisor.
If you need insurance, you gotta go to Insurance Providers Group. They can help you like they've helped me. Hi, it's Jay Lehman. Insurance Providers Group can get you a quote on all aspects of personal, business, agricultural, life, and health insurance and employee benefits. They represent many insurance companies that allow them to provide you with the most competitive rates and the best coverage. Call Kyle Lewis at 217-352-7080 or email Kyle at IPGINS.com or go to the website for a quote at IPGNINS.com.
There's one name you need to know in car repair in the Central Illinois area, and that's John Marshall. John is the owner of PDR Automotive in Urbana and makes it his mission to know that your car will start when you come to pick it up. John strives for a repair in the most efficient time possible and is the right person to take care of your car. From tires to engine to electrical to the simple oil change. Trust in John at PDR. 1008 North Cunningham in Urbana. John's team will take care of you like family.
If your car breaks down or needs to be repaired, trust the experts at Beaumont Alignment Plus to step up. For routine maintenance like tune-ups, oil changes, brakes, or tires, you can count on Beaumont. They'll also service bigger issues like alignment, suspension work, starters, or transmission problems. So get to know Beaumont Alignment Plus for all your vehicle repairs. With locations on Bloomington Road and Denison Drive in Champaign, you're never far from the help you need. You can trust the dedicated family-owned team of professionals at Beaumont Alignment Plus. Online at BeaumontAlignment.com.
BMW, Buick, GMC, Honda, and Subaru. Welcome to Sarah Champagne. We can handle all your car repairs on site, including paintless dent repair, bumpers, windshields, everything in between. We have an amazing selection of new or pre-owned vehicles to choose from. Shop from home and buy online or reserve your vehicle before it hits our website or dealership. Sarah Champagne is home of the Sarah One Price Promise, delivering an honest and transparent buying experience. Hurry in or shop online at sarahchampagne.com.
This is Gina from ABC Heating and Air Conditioning. If you're looking for a top-of-the-line air conditioner, think Amana. We carry all sizes and offer expert installation. ABC Heating and Air Conditioning is locally owned, and we've been in business for 50 years. And for 50 years, the only brand we've sold is Amana. So go with a company that is local, dependable, and will be there for you no matter what time of day or night. ABC. Always be comfortable. Let us install your new Amana air conditioner. Visit www.abcheatingandac.com.
It's beginning to look a lot like fall in the Prairie Gardens greenhouses. The first mums are blooming now. They're loaded with beautiful fall color and now on sale. Find them in the PG greenhouses along with more fall garden favorites. Ornamental peppers, asters, rudbeckia, and more. With PG plant experts always on hand to answer your garden questions. At Prairie Gardens, locally owned plant experts, extraordinary gardening, home decor, and more.
We all have a mission in life, something that drives us to explore, to grow, to love. And when we discover it, we're made whole. At OSF Healthcare, we want you to be the best you possible. We're here for you on your schedule to make your life just a little bit easier. Whatever your mission is, we're here to support it. Your life, our mission. Learn more at osfhealthcare.org/mission.
Hey, Illini fans, it's Georgia B. Catch my boys Lante and Derek Piper weekdays from 4 to 6 on The Drive. Boom, boom, brr.
Oh, Christmas music. We've gone over this. We've been over it millions of times. I am a Christmas music guy. Starting October 1st is when I start.
That's the date?
I do it. I'm that guy. I'm sorry. I love a little Christmas music. It always puts me in a good mood.
I don't blame you.
I've always said that Christmas, I hope, for every child is as good as it gets. And that's why you should always try to help out around that time. I know we have certain charities around the Champaign-Urbana, smaller town areas, all about Christmas for the kids. Do whatever you can to make every child's Christmas the best. Because really what it does is then everybody starts listening to Christmas music in October. And pretty soon we'd be a happier nation, would we not? Actually,
I think we would.
Probably be a meaner nation.
Well, I don't know.
People don't like Christmas music for 3 months. They like it for like a week. That's the general thought I get from most people. They're like, oh, look, December 20th, I'm all about throwing on a Christmas music, but I'm not doing it in October. And I understand. I don't ever fight back or argue back. Not fight. I'm not going to fight. I've never been in a fight.
I'm of the right after Thanksgiving.
Really weird
then you're good.
Finger that I'd get into a fight with, and I'd be like, do you see this finger? And then, bam, I'd just hammer him. All right,
but now I know that if I take Cade trick-or-treating to your house,
yes,
you'll open the door and Christmas music will be blaring. You'll answer the door with like the reindeer glass that Clark Griswold has with an eggnog.
Let it snow, let it snow. Well, hey, Cade, here's a toothbrush and an apple. Oh, don't be that guy, right? Too many
Definitely
of those. Yeah, you're going to be trick-or-treating with Cade this
Soon
year.
enough.
Dude, take advantage of the young, because he's barely going to eat any of that candy. So guess who's getting
good point.
it? Guess who's getting it? Oh, yeah. And then they get to be about 5, and they come home, and they put all the Hershey bars right here, all the Snicker bars right here, all the Laffy Taffies right here. And they've got it all over your living room. It's just all candy all over the living room. Like, Dad, I've got 12 Hershey bars. I'm like, well, you're about ready to have 11. It's one of those. And then they get mad if you steal any.
That's what my mom did every night when we go to sleep. Like, I thought there were more Tootsie Rolls in my basket than there are this morning.
Mom, have you seen the Tootsie Rolls? No, I have no idea. And you weren't smart enough to go in and check the bathroom trash, because that's where she ditched it, thinking you wouldn't go in to check that. So yeah. You got to take advantage.
Smarter than me.
Correct. You got to take advantage of these early years when you get to eat all the candy. Oh, we are 26, 25 hours away from the NFL. The National Football League. We went over the AFC last hour thanks to BetUS.com. We're using their odds. Again, check them out, BetUS.com. Use the promo code 935. Get you a nice little sign-up bonus, and thank Derek and I later on that. It is time to go through the NFC. I assume you're going to keep the NFC North to last, or do you really even do that? Yeah, what the heck?
Let's do your division first.
All right.
These odds via BetUS.com.
Do you know Kyler Murray might be the best quarterback in that division?
He might be.
Is he better than Trey Lance?
Right now, yes.
Yeah. Is he better than...
It's just Stafford, or are you saying he's better than Stafford?
Probably not.
For half the season he is.
Yeah,
First
right.
half he's definitely been. He's been MVP caliber. It's whether he can...
And then
the joke is, after Call of Duty comes out, is he better than Matthew Stafford?
Wow.
I know.
He is better than Geno Smith.
Yes.
Usually if you'd have the best quarterback, you would probably be able to win the division, but I don't know that that's going to be the case.
I know you're not as high on the Cardinals this year.
I'm not.
The Rams are the projected favorite on BetUS, plus 125. The Niners, plus 175.
Okay.
Cardinals, plus 325. And the Seahawks, 16-1.
Okay, again, I'm going to go with that second place. I think I would lay money on the Niners to win that division at plus 175. If they get anything out of their quarterback, they could win that division. A lot of things went right for the Rams, but they should have. They were really good, and they're still good. And don't get me wrong, that team should be the favorite to win that division. And I called it last year. I mean, I said they would win that division. I just think, well, you know me, I like to risk a little bit.
Sure.
Give me a little money on the Niners to win that division at plus 175. I'd like that. What about you? Is that a no-brainer? You're still getting plus money with the Rams.
Plus money with the Rams is hard to turn down for sure.
This is why Piper has money
I don't know,
in his account,
man.
and I don't.
The Niners are tough to figure out because they've won all these games with Jimmy G.
Yeah.
which I'm not going to say that he was pretty efficient and could make some manageable throws over the middle. That's definitely his strong point. It's whether you didn't have the deep ball with him. You were kind of limited in terms of opening things up fully offensively. Now, how long does it take Trey Lance to be a efficient passer, or at least just good enough to go with his running?
That's a long time, I think.
That's going to be a big question.
I think Jimmy G's the quarterback there by week 6.
Do you really?
I do.
Wow.
You know what you have with that team. You need someone competent to get you to a Super Bowl. And I'm not saying that Trey Lance one day won't be that guy. Would you trust Justin Fields to lead you to a Super Bowl if you were the Niners? Maybe.
Maybe.
Jimmy G has been there. Right?
He has. He's been there.
I'm not saying he's...
I just think when you trade what you traded and you win all in on Trey Lance, now it's time.
You have to. I'm still putting money on the Niners to win it. What the heck? I'm taking the chance. Plus, I don't want to see the Rams win it again. I'm already tired of little guy Sean McVay. That dude can coach.
He can.
He can coach, and he has perfect hair. I mean, I'm
doesn't
not saying
have the house of Cliff Kingsbury.
No,
though.
he doesn't. I'm not saying McVay's got the hair I want. It's just perfect. When you see it, it's just spiked perfectly. He spends a lot of time on the pregame curls and hair gel. That is for sure. All
Real
right.
quick on your Cardinals.
Yeah.
Chiefs at home, at the Raiders, Rams at home. Now, this has been a fast-starting team under Kingsbury, and with Kyler, you don't have Hopkins.
No.
Can they?
Oh, by the way,
that's not a throwaway statement. I admit. Can they? If they manage to start fast again, then maybe they can make things more interesting. But do you think this would be way too tough without DeAndre?
I think the schedule in general is way too tough for this team. I just really do. They've got the pieces. The defense is interesting. I think they're still without a solid corner. The other corner, I'm sorry. But they have the pieces. Isaiah Simmons back there. I mean, they have the pieces to get things done. I think that they will do some funky stuff on defense to screw you up. And, of course, James Conner now doesn't have Chase Edmonds. We'll see what they do. You've got the Williams kid. Darrell Williams used to be with the Chiefs. I don't know. I just think without Hopkins last year, remember he got hurt, and that was part of the reason they took a nosedive. So I know you have Hollywood Brown, and that's going to help. And I think Rondale Moore makes a step up, and you've got a good tight end room. Trey McBride, they drafted in the first round, or second round, I'm sorry. They traded their first-round pick for Hollywood. I think the Cardinals will continuously all season keep their head above water, above 500. I just don't think they have what it takes. Now, I'm going to say this. I'm calling it now. I think next season is when the Cardinals make a serious run at the Super Bowl. I'm saying it. I think this year they spend about 500. They get about that 14th, 15th, 16th draft pick. They get some cap room back. I think they make the necessary moves next year to make an absolute run at the Super Bowl. I think the schedule's too hard this year. And just look at the first three. You just said it.
Yeah.
You got three playoff teams right off the bat, and you don't have DeAndre Hopkins. You could easily be staring at 0-3. Now, if they're 3-0, you and I are drinking a lot of beer in week 4. I'm promising you that.
I look forward to that. Hopefully we'll see that through. In the NFC East.
Yes.
There's
Do we
been
have
a
to
move.
talk about that?
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
The Eagles are now the favorites projected on BetUS, plus 130 in that division. The Cowboys, plus 145. Commanders, 5-1. Giants, plus 750.
I want to hear what Piper says on this. Because, I always go with the second-place team. And is there a better odd than the Cowboys, who should win that division, winning that division? Although
they should. They just had
Philadelphia's good.
They are. They're very talented. I think there's been a little bit too much preseason hype with the Eagles. They've got a ton of talent. Like A.J. Brown coming into a receiving core that also has Devontae Smith going into his second year. Jalen Hurts. We'll see if he can make the next step. I know that late last year he made significant progress and has shown some really good things.
Do you trust Miles Sanders?
No.
He's only like 26 years old.
Is that right?
I don't. He's young.
They were rumored trying to go after Kareem Hunt at one point.
Yeah.
They might be in the market for a running back if Sanders can't stay healthy mid-season. But to the point of injuries, the Dallas Cowboys have had a bunch of injuries offensively. Their left tackle's out.
Right.
They've had some injuries with the receiving core, also losing Amari Cooper.
Mm-hmm.
I understand why people are going Eagles, but I'd probably still I'd probably still go Cowboys.
And you'd get better money. You'd get better value out of the Cowboys.
The other two aren't even worth it.
Zeke, can you just make Pollard the number one running back and go with it?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe Zeke will come back. He got as big as me last year. That's not a good thing if you're trying to be a star running back in the NFL.
No.
All right, what do we got
Let's
next?
go NFC South. We'll save the North for last. Even though
Okay.
it's going to be pretty predictable in what we're going to say. NFC South, the Bucs favorite. They're the biggest favorite of anybody in a division, minus 275. Saints 3-1. Panthers 10-1. Falcons 28-1.
It's always good to be in the South, whether it be the NFC or the AFC. It is always the weakest division in football, the two weakest divisions. I mean, I don't trust Jameis Winston. Trevor Lawrence, I think, takes a huge step this year. I know that's your guy this year. Isn't it funny? You say one good thing about somebody, and I immediately make it Pipe's guy. But I think he takes a nice step. I think Jacksonville has they have Christian Kirk, Travis Etienne. I think if he stays healthy, can have a pretty good year. Who's the other team?
Well, that's the Jaguars in the AFC, but the NFC
what am I
South,
saying?
Saints, Panthers,
I'm
Falcons.
sorry. All of a
Panthers
sudden I
with
go Jacksonville.
Baker
there.
Mayfield.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't trust. I don't trust anybody else in that division minus Tampa Bay. So yeah, I'm definitely going Tampa in that division.
I'm with Tampa as well.
Okay.
And then for the North, to conclude us, the Packers minus 175. A very trendy Minnesota Vikings this offseason, plus 225 to win that division.
Ooh.
The Lions are 9-1. The Bears 16-1.
What were the odds again of Tampa?
Tampa's minus 275.
Okay, I'm not taking that. All right. Minnesota's what?
Plus 225. So Packers
Has
favored.
Aaron Rodgers ever been injured?
It's been a while.
Is he due? I think I'm taking the Vikings there. I mean, that's good money, plus 225.
It is.
What's 10 win you on that?
10 would win 2250.
2250. It's really that easy, isn't it? Plus 225. It really is, Lon. It's really that easy to add up. I mean, I know that's stupid, Green Bay, but I'm one of those guys that takes a chance.
I understand it. I wouldn't bet the Packers at this number. I don't trust them as much. I think it will take some time for Rodgers to develop that needed chemistry with his wide receivers. I know he trusts Allen Lazard, but now Allen Lazard's going to be treated as a number one.
I agree.
He had 8 touchdowns last year, but that's when everybody's focusing on Devontae Adams. What happens with some of these rookies like Romeo Doubs and Christian Watson, Sammy Watkins, can he stay healthy? That's pretty much been a
I didn't
no.
know he
most
was in
year.
Green Bay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I love A.J. Dillon. I think he's going to have a huge year. Aaron Jones. I think the Packers can run the ball much more than they have. Rely on that more in the red zone and then play good defense. And then Rodgers is going to make the plays in the clutch that
he will.
I probably won't trust Kirk Cousins to make.
Yep, that's fair. That's fair. I just would like to see someone else win that division.
Preach to the choir.
And I think if the Vikings won it, that means my guy Dalvin Cook's having a big year.
Huh?
You know, new offense, new coach.
Coach that actually likes offense.
Right. Why can't I think of last year's the coach for the Vikings?
Mike Zimmer.
Mike Zimmer. I never really. He was weird to look at. Like, just starting there, he was weird to look at. I just think, look, they're gonna put Cook in the slot a lot. He's gonna get a lot of catches. I think the Vikings you're gonna have to outscore them. You just don't know if their defense has it gotten enough better, if you will, to compete with the Packers. I don't know.
They did go get Zadarius Smith from the Packers
that's
as an edge rusher to go opposite Danielle Hunter. So their pass rush could be pretty good. Their secondary, as you mentioned last hour, is a big question.
So give everybody Piper's thoughts. We're laying pipes. Laying pipe. And we can't use that. Give everybody your bet. Who you're betting in each division. If I'm giving you $20 to bet on each division winner.
Oh, man.
Start in the AFC.
Let's do Bills and Bucks parlayed together.
Okay.
Because I don't think it's worth betting either one of those individually.
I like that. See, I like that thought.
I'd probably take the Rams at plus money and just say, yeah, they're the favorite. It's chalky, but it's plus money still. Bengals plus 170 might be my favorite.
Yeah, yes.
Them being an underdog to the Ravens to win the AFC North. The Colts are going to win the AFC South. I know you got to pay a little bit of.
What if you put Colts in that two-team parlay with your division winners?
You could.
I mean, they're going to win that.
I would imagine.
So Tampa
and the Bills, and then you could throw the Colts in there.
I think that's a solid 3-leg parlay of division winners.
There you go.
I like that.
There you go. Cowboys, I would go with.
Yes.
Packers if I had to make a bet. Somewhere there's an upset in there, and I don't know what it is. Maybe sprinkle a little on the Raiders just in case things get crazy in Vegas. But I love the Chargers, and I know you're on San Francisco.
Would you ever bet any division winner that doesn't have plus money?
I have before. I mean, I got the Packers last year minus 150, and if you think it's
Hi, my name is Kelly Doherty with OSF Healthcare, and I am a certified nurse midwife in the obstetrics and
I did do that, just so everybody knows. That is my fault.
You didn't want to hear about the Packers anymore.
No, right. You said the Packers.
So, yeah, if you anything over 175, 200, that's too much.
Okay.
Too much.
You know that's a product of my fat gut hitting the space bar. You understand that, right? No, I just think that's a boring bet. I'll tell you the thing I hate to do when I bet is have a futures bet that's sitting in my bets or whatever for 6 months.
I know.
It drives me nuts. like I bet Alabama to win the national championship, and I'm sitting there staring at a $20 bet to win $55, and I'll stare at that now for the next 2 months or 3 or what, right? At least 3. And I'll be like, can I just cash out on that?
But hey, when they're playing in the college football playoff on New Year's Eve, and you're still playing Christmas music, you're like, hey, look what I got.
Guess what, everybody? Wes says the Saints are winning the division. Well, you got Kamara, you got Michael. Is Michael Thomas going to...
He's supposed to play week 1.
We'll see what he does.
I've invested too much trust in him fantasy-wise. I've drafted him in like every league.
Uh-huh.
And we'll see if that works.
I'm giving him 1 week. And if he comes out with 9 catches, I'm going to be like, we just got the steal of the draft. We just got the steal of the draft. Why wouldn't you trust him? Let's get out of here. We'll be here tomorrow talking a little Illinois and Virginia for sure. And some betting. We'll do it all tomorrow. Cardinals tonight. You'll hear it here. It is The Drive.
Illinois football is back. Shop at Game Day Spirit this fall and gear up to support your Fighting Illini football team. With great football designs and brand new apparel from top brands, they're the one-stop shop to get everything you need this football season. Shop with them at the corner of Neal and Kirby in Champaign, 6th and Green in Campustown, and online 24/7 at GameDaySpirit.com. Game Day Spirit, where Illini fans shop.
Hey Illini fans, it's Max Kellerman. Catch Lon Tay and Derek Piper weekdays from 4 to 6 right here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
Hi, this is Chris Jackson with Kramer Siding and Window. And whatever your project, you can count on Kramer Siding to offer you the best products backed by the best warranties in the business, as well as Central Illinois employees dedicated to providing you with professional installation and a lifetime of great customer service. And right now, you can save 10% on roofing, sunrooms, and decks, get 15% off gutter helmet, and you can save 25% on preservation siding, windows, and doors. So call today or visit us at kramersiding.com and let's get started on your project.
It's beginning to look a lot like fall at Prairie Gardens. New fall home decor collections, handmade wreaths and arrangements, fall candles and scents, plus more, all ready for your fall home and your fall garden. The first fall mums are blooming now and on sale. Find them in the peachy greenhouses with other fall garden favorites, ornamental peppers, asters, and more. Ready now at Prairie Gardens. Extraordinary gardening, home decor, and more.
Illini fans, enjoy rooting on the team with great drink specials and prizes from Pia's Sports Bar and Grill. Coors Light buckets, $15 and pitchers for $8. $4 Captain Morgan drinks, get $3 Coors Lights, Twisted Tea, and Dos Equis. The loaded hot dog at Pia's is only $3. Take note, Stevie J Broadcasting has a live broadcast from 4 to 6 p.m. with great giveaways and tickets to Illini games. Join them September 23rd. Wear your orange and blue and go Illini. Pia's, 1609 West Springfield Avenue in Champaign.
The pageantry, the atmosphere, the tradition, the emotion.
The Illini celebrate a win.
Experience all the thrills of Illinois football on Saturday, September 10th as your Illini take on ACC opponent Virginia at Memorial Stadium. Get your tickets today at fightingillini.com or by calling 866-ILLINI-1. Hail to the Orange.
At Jets, we don't just do it right, we do it better. Better like dough and sauce made fresh daily, hand-cut vegetables, and all-natural premium mozzarella cheese. It makes us better, like our Jets Detroit-style pizza made from scratch with hand-pressed dough baked to the thickest, crispiest crunch. Celebrate their 44th anniversary with the best of Jets, a large Detroit-style pizza baked with Mama Jet's pizza sauce. With premium mozzarella and your choice of one topping for just $14.99. Online code LJETS. Jets. Better because it has to be.
You're listening to WSJK ESPN 93.5 Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, your home for the St. Louis Cardinals.